The 10 most shocking recent archaeological discoveries that shook the world. Welcome back to 10 Minutes Discovery, your go-to channel for uncovering the most fascinating mysteries of history and archaeology. Today, we're diving into a thrilling journey with an incredibly hot topic: 10 most shocking recent archaeological discoveries that shook the world. Have you ever wondered what secrets still lie hidden beneath layers of earth? Ancient ruins, unsolved historical mysteries, and long-lost civilizations are waiting to be uncovered every single day. And this isn't just distant speculation. Within just the past few years, archaeologists across the globe have made a series of groundbreaking discoveries that have astonished the scientific community and even reshaped how we view human history. In this video, I'll take you through mysterious and captivating stories of the latest archaeological findings, from ancient tombs filled with secrets to forgotten cities and artifacts that are transforming our understanding of ancient civilizations. And I'm curious, what civilization are you most fascinated by? Don't hesitate to leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and chat with you. Now let's begin our journey into the world's most mind-blowing archaeological mysteries, right now. 6 skeletons found face down in a cliffside cave. On an island renowned for its powdery white sand and deep blue waters, where the sunlight stretches across the land like a golden ribbon all year round, you would never suspect a chilling mystery that's left the archaeological world baffled. This is Gran Canaria, a gem in the Atlantic Ocean, part of Spain's Canary Islands. Beneath the idyllic exterior of a resort paradise lies a dark, unresolved story. 6 male skeletons were found in a cave on a cliffside, all lying face down. Several of the bodies had their limbs bound, and some were even covered with rocks, as if they had been executed rather than buried with traditional rites. Spine-tingling, isn't it? It sounds like something straight out of an ancient horror novel, yet this is the reality uncovered by a team of archaeologists led by expert Veronica Alberto. What's even more perplexing, no one knows who they were, why they died in that position, or what happened to them all those centuries ago. All that remains are faint traces etched into the rock, waiting for science to decode them. From the very start of the excavation, the research team sensed something unusual. Unlike traditional burials, these bodies weren't laid flat in coffins or graves. They were pressed into the rocky ground, face down. In some cases, stones had been deliberately thrown over the bodies. Some even showed signs of being tightly bound. Strong evidence that these individuals hadn't been buried, but rather subjected to a violent, symbolic form of death. Archaeologist Veronica described it as a brutal death, far from natural causes or accidental tragedy. Could it have been a ritual punishment, or even a human sacrifice? That's exactly what the scientists are now trying to figure out. Another detail that piqued researchers' interest: all 6 skeletons were male, with notably strong muscular builds, especially in the arms. This raises the possibility that they were involved in intense physical activity, perhaps warriors, hunters, or members of a specialized labor group within their ancient society. But why did they meet such a fate? Were they victims of a purge, executed for betrayal, or simply offerings in a forgotten sacrificial rite? As the excavation continued, the team realized this site was unlike any burial ground they'd ever encountered. There were no grave goods, no organic materials, no tools or jewelry. Almost all clues had been lost to time. This made dating the remains incredibly difficult. For now, scientists must wait for radiocarbon dating results, one of the few methods still available that might unlock the timeline. So, were these men part of an indigenous population before Spain conquered the islands? Or did this event take place after the 15th century, during the era of European imperial expansion and the bloody clashes between civilizations? No one knows for sure. You might be wondering how a place as breathtaking as Gran Canaria, with famous beaches like the lively Playa del Ingles or the peaceful Puerto de Mogan, could harbor such eerie stories. That contrast is exactly what makes this discovery so haunting. The clash between modern tourist beauty and a terrifying past buried beneath the rocks is enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. Imagine standing on a scenic cliff overlooking the ocean, unaware that beneath your feet may lie an ancient tomb wrapped in an unsolved curse. And here's the most intriguing part: this is only the beginning. The archaeological site is still being expanded, and the research team hopes to uncover more clues: a shard of pottery, a trace of a campfire, or even an old leather strap. anything that might help piece together the fate of these 6 unfortunate individuals. Were they betrayed heroes, prisoners of a lost civilization, or simply the victims of a ritual no one remembers? The journey to uncover the past never truly ends, and this time it has brought us to the edge of a mystery that only grows deeper the more we dig. If you're passionate about archaeology and love connecting with the fragments of history, don't take your eyes off this strange investigation, because a major secret may soon be revealed, right here on this island paradise. The 42 child skeletons sacrificed during 15th century drought. A dark corner of human history has just been unearthed beneath the Templo Mayor, the ancient sacred religious center of the Aztec Empire. In a place once echoing with holy chants, archaeologists have discovered undeniable evidence of one of the most shocking mass child sacrifices in the archaeological history of the Americas. At least 42 children, aged between 2 and 7 years old, were offered in ritual sacrifice to the rain god Tlaloc in a desperate plea to end a devastating drought. This is no fading legend. It is real. Physical evidence uncovered, touched, and examined by archaeologists right at the heart of Tenochtitlan, known today as modern-day Mexico City. Hard to imagine, isn't it? A powerful city-state, rich in culture and steeped in faith, resorted to bloodshed in an effort to preserve life amid a climate catastrophe. According to research presented at the Water and Life Symposium at the National Autonomous University of Mexico, the remains found at the Templo Mayor were arranged with care. Each child was laid on their back, arms and legs gently folded, placed inside solid stone boxes on sandy ground, an indication that this was a meticulously planned ritual, not a hasty or random act. Some bodies still bore jewelry, gemstone necklaces, and even greenstone beads placed in their mouths. These were not mere offerings, but chosen with deep symbolic purpose. Children were seen as pure, and greenstone, representing water, was used to guide their souls to the divine realm to beg for life itself. But why children? That question chills anyone who hears it. In Aztec belief, Tlaloc, the god of rain, water, and agriculture, required persuasion through the sacrifice of the most innocent beings. They even believed that the crying of the children during the ritual was the most moving plea that could reach the gods, and a sign that the offering had been accepted. It's harrowing to hear, but if you put yourself in their shoes, you might begin to understand their desperate choices. Archaeologist Leonardo Lopez Lujan, who leads the Templo Mayor project, explains that the authorities initially tried to combat the drought by opening royal grain stores to feed the poor. But when those efforts failed, they turned to the divine for help. Many of the children, very likely sold by starving families, became the bridge between humans and the gods. What makes this even more haunting is that these gruesome details align with geological evidence and climate data from the Mexican Drought Atlas, which shows that central Mexico suffered a catastrophic drought between 1452 and 1454. Crops failed to sprout, corn didn't flower, and famine gripped all layers of society. During the reign of Moctezuma I, while the Templo Mayor was under construction, the drought not only destroyed the harvest, but also drove families to sell their children in exchange for food. It's hard to imagine the severity of such a crisis. Picture this. The drought strikes at the start of summer, halting all crop growth. Then an unusual frost hits in the fall, killing off whatever little was left. 2 back-to-back blows from nature wiped out entire harvests, and in utter desperation, the Aztecs turned to the most heartbreaking form of supplication they knew. In the ancient soil, researchers also found blue pigments, seashells, small birds, and volcanic stone statues buried with the bodies. All of these symbols point directly to Tlaloc, his face carved repeatedly, as if to emphasize, this was not a crime, but an offering. But did the gods hear their prayers? No one knows for sure what happened afterward. The sacred cloth found in a Greek royal tomb. Deep within an ancient hill in northern Greece, once the heart of the legendary Macedonian kingdom, archaeologists unearthed what seemed to be an ordinary faded piece of fabric, worn thin by the passage of time. But no one could have predicted that after nearly half a century buried in darkness, this piece of cloth might actually be the legendary purple cloak once worn by Alexander the Great, one of the most iconic figures in human history. If this proves true, we may be looking at one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of the 21st century. The fabric was originally discovered in 1977 at the Great Tumulus of Vergina, a royal burial site that has long been at the center of historical debate in ancient Greek archaeology. This is where several members of the Macedonian royal family were buried, including Philip III Aridaeus, Alexander's half-brother. At first, the cloth was believed to be merely a burial shroud for Aridaeus's bones, with no connection to Alexander himself. However, decades of research have completely reshaped that assumption. You might be wondering, why is the color purple so important in this story? In the ancient world, purple was the ultimate symbol of royal power. The dye was extracted from a rare sea snail called murex, and it took thousands of these creatures to produce even a small amount, making it incredibly expensive. Only kings and emperors like Alexander were permitted to wear purple-dyed garments. According to historical accounts by Ephippus of Olynthus, a contemporary of Alexander, the king was rarely seen without his purple cloak during public appearances or ceremonial events. It wasn't just clothing, it was a statement of authority. In a study published in the Journal of Field Archaeology, Dr. Antonis Bartsiokas of Democritus University of Thrace and his colleagues revisited the archaeological records of Royal Tomb II, the tomb that housed the golden chest containing Aridaeus's remains, along with various precious artifacts. Among them, they re-examined a long-overlooked piece of purple cloth made of extremely rare ancient cotton. The fabric was dyed purple, with a central white band believed to have been bleached using the mineral huntite. These features match remarkably well with descriptions of Alexander's cloak found in ancient texts. Even more intriguing, within that same tomb, an ancient fresco was discovered depicting Alexander hunting a lion, wearing a purple causia, a royal cap, adorned with a diadem, and dressed in a flowing purple cloak, his gaze as fierce as the beast he pursued. This image is no accident. The causia was a headpiece reserved only for royalty, and if the cloak in the painting is indeed the same one as the fabric found in the golden chest, then this might be the last surviving fragment of Alexander's sacred garment. Bartsiokas did not hesitate to call this textile the most precious object of antiquity, not just because of its archaeological value, but because it could represent a crucial missing link in identifying the tomb of Alexander himself, a mystery that continues to elude historians. Despite countless theories, ranging from Egypt and the Middle East to ancient Greece, no one has ever confirmed the location of his burial. But if the cloak he once wore has surfaced in Vergina, could it mean he once set foot here? Or perhaps was even buried here? This remains one of the greatest unanswered questions. While we still lack definitive proof, this discovery has opened a new door in ongoing debates about Macedonian history, Alexander's legacy, and the deeper secrets of his dynasty. So what do you think? Could this ancient cloth really be the same cloak that once billowed behind Alexander the Great as he led his endless campaigns from Europe to India? Or is it merely a historical coincidence, an artifact of his time, but not his own? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Who knows, maybe your perspective will be the key to unlocking a mystery buried for over 2,000 years. Entrance to a 16,000-year-old Ice Age cave discovered. One April morning, as the sun rose and light filtered through moss-covered trees, a team of archaeologists paused before a mysterious survey site near the town of Engen, in the Konstanz district of southern Germany. Little did they know that just beneath the seemingly lifeless sediment lay a gateway to the past, a cave entrance that once served as a shelter for our Ice Age ancestors nearly 16,000 years ago. And so began the remarkable story of a discovery long buried, now slowly coming back to light. This cave wasn't entirely unknown. Back in 1978, archaeologists first identified its existence after detonating a small opening in its ceiling to study when humans might have inhabited it. Beneath the layers of earth, they uncovered traces of life, remnants of hunter-gatherers who once called this place home. However, the ceiling was later sealed, and excavation was paused, left to wait for a more suitable time. And just like that, a great mystery was swallowed up by time and nature. It wasn't until 2021 that efforts resumed. Over the course of 6 weeks, experts from the University of Tübingen, led by Dr. Yvonne Tafelmeier, gathered significant new data. Yet one question remained unanswered. Where was the actual entrance to the cave? Although they were certain the site had been occupied during the Magdalenian period, a late phase of the Ice Age, the entrance itself remained completely blocked by sediment. Can you imagine? A doorway sealed off by time, as if nature itself were trying to protect its secrets just a little longer. Then, a turning point came in April 2024. This time, a team from the University of Heidelberg took over with a new approach. Instead of picking up shovels right away, they used modern imaging technology, similar to ground-penetrating radar, to scan the area and detect anomalies beneath the surface. The results were astonishing. They identified a 65 feet long void, marking the location of the ancient entrance. And on July 4th, after digging through several feet of compacted sediment, the long-hidden doorway finally revealed itself. But the archaeological treasure didn't end with the rediscovery of the entrance. As excavation progressed, the team uncovered an array of artifacts, stone tools, worked animal bones, and primitive objects crafted and used by humans thousands of years ago. Though they may appear crude, these items are invaluable clues, helping us piece together the story of survival, hunting, and daily life in a hard... It's not often that scientists have the chance to access such a well-preserved Ice Age dwelling and explore it with today's advanced technology. And what's even more exciting? The excavation isn't over. The team plans to return this year to expand the dig and uncover more secrets hidden within the rock. Who knows what might still be waiting? Ancient cave art, remnants of campfires, or even footprints, direct evidence of prehistoric humans once walking this very ground. This discovery has not only thrilled the scientific community, but also sparked the imagination of anyone who dreams of the past. Have you ever wondered if the ground beneath your feet hides stories lost to time? How many doors like this are still out there, silent and sealed, waiting to be found? And if one day you stood before an ancient cave, would you see just a patch of untouched land, or would you feel an unexpected connection to your ancestors? The oldest section of the Great Wall, uncovering a 3,000-year-old legacy beneath Shandong's soil. Hidden for millennia beneath layers of alluvial red earth on the northern edge of Guangli village in Shandong province, an ancient segment of the Great Wall, nearly forgotten by time, has been unearthed by archaeologists, revealing a discovery that has stunned the academic community. The Great Wall did not begin with Emperor Qin Shi Huang, as many have long believed. In fact, the newly discovered section dates back over 300 years earlier than previously estimated, and may have originated as early as the late Western Zhou dynasty, around the 8th century BCE. This massive ancient structure, silent through the ages, now speaks for the first time, and its message is a powerful reminder that history still holds countless secrets waiting to be uncovered. A large-scale excavation, led by the Shandong Institute of Archaeology and Cultural Heritage, took place from mid-May to the end of December 2024. It marked a significant turning point, being the first proactive research campaign focused on this ancient wall segment in many years. The excavation covered an area of about 11,840 square feet, but the findings far exceeded expectations. Instead of mere scattered ruins, researchers discovered a nearly intact section of the Great Wall, the first known portion believed to have been built during the Qi state, a dominant force during the Eastern Zhou dynasty. Stretching more than 400 miles from Chongqing in the west to Qingdao in the east, this is the oldest and longest known segment of the entire Great Wall system. What shocked archaeologists wasn't just the size or location of the structure, but the precise dating methods and the modern approaches used in the investigation. Rather than relying solely on historical texts or conjecture, the research team employed a combination of advanced techniques, including artifact analysis, phytolith studies, soil sampling, and cutting-edge dating methods like optically stimulated luminescence, OSL, and carbon-14 isotope testing. These scientific techniques produced a near undeniable chronological map, demonstrating that the wall originated during the turbulent early spring and autumn period, a time when feudal lords relentlessly competed for power, land, and influence. The existence of the Qi State Wall, already recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, is more than a defensive strategy of an ancient nation. It was a declaration of sovereignty, a political boundary, and a symbol of power that the Qi rulers projected to their neighbors. These seemingly endless walls etched themselves onto the landscape of a time when life, death, warfare, and political ambition intersected daily. Originally about 33 feet wide at its Western Zhou-era foundation, and later expanded to over 98 feet during the Warring States period, the Qi Wall was not just an architectural feat, It was evidence of a remarkable evolution in construction techniques and strategic military thinking from a now-lost dynasty. The construction's peak occurred under King Xuan of Qi, who ruled from 350 to 301 BCE. Under his leadership, the wall was upgraded with tightly compacted yellow earth, hammered down using metal tools, a sophisticated method remarkable for its time. But the marvel doesn't stop at the wall's structure. Within the layers of earth and stone that once shielded it, archaeologists uncovered remnants of an ancient settlement. Fragments of pottery, production tools, and even preserved food stores revealed a vibrant community that lived, worked, and protected one of the kingdom's most critical defensive lines. What has been unearthed is not merely the remains of a wall, but the physical memory of an entire civilization. Every compacted layer of soil, every broken shard of pottery, every trace of ash serves as silent testimony to a time when history was still being written. The discovery of this oldest known section of the Great Wall not only broadens our understanding of the wall's origins, but also offers a new perspective on the complex geopolitical landscape of ancient China, where power, conflict, and technological ingenuity merged to create one of humanity's greatest architectural achievements. And above all, it reminds us, the deeper we dig into the earth, the more layers of truth await to be revealed. The Forgotten Pharaoh's Tomb, a groundbreaking archaeological discovery. After a century of silence in the Valley of the Kings. Amid the scorching desert of ancient Egypt, beneath millennia-old sands that have long buried history, a pharaoh's tomb, once thought lost to time, has been uncovered, marking a major turning point in global archaeology. This revelation comes exactly 100 years after the last royal tomb was excavated in the Valley of the Kings. The tomb belongs to Thutmos II, a pharaoh who ruled Egypt over 3,500 years ago and was the husband of the famed Queen Hatshepsut. This discovery not only opens a new chapter in the exploration of the Nile civilization, but also breathes life into untold stories about a ruler whose reign remains shrouded in historical ambiguity. Located on the western side of the Valley of the Kings, a site once reserved for Egypt's greatest pharaohs, the tomb of Thutmos II was initially uncovered in October 2022. However, it wasn't until the excavation seasons of late 2024 and early 2025 that the team of archaeologists confirmed the tomb's owner after meticulously analyzing pottery fragments bearing his name. One of the most significant shards included a label indicating it once contained natron, a salt mixture used in mummification, pointing to a royal burial ceremony that once followed full Egyptian ritual protocol. What makes this discovery extraordinary is not just the identity of the pharaoh, but the unusual condition of the tomb itself. Unlike the nearly intact tomb of King Tutankhamun, discovered in 1922 and famously filled with gold, jewels, and an undisturbed mummy, Thutmos II's tomb was almost completely empty. No mummy, no funerary artifacts. According to expert analysis, the tomb was likely flooded shortly after the burial, forcing priests to relocate all valuables, and possibly even the pharaoh's remains, to another site for preservation. While the tomb lacks the expected grandeur of royal treasures or a golden sarcophagus, archaeologists emphasize it was not looted. All evidence suggests the relocation was carried out in an orderly, respectful, and deliberate manner, an exceedingly rare occurrence in the history of Egyptian tombs, many of which were plundered in antiquity. This intact, albeit emptied tomb offers more than just a glimpse into Egypt's past. It opens a door to a richer, more intricate narrative. One current hypothesis being investigated by archaeologists is that a second tomb may exist, still hidden somewhere in the Deir el-Bahari region or deeper beneath the desert, containing Thutmos II's mummy and royal treasures. Some experts speculate that a mummy found at Deir el-Bahari might belong to Thutmos II, but radiocarbon dating suggests it could be older than his reign, a detail that only thickens the veil of mystery surrounding his life and death. Despite being a pharaoh, Thutmos II remains one of the least understood figures in ancient Egyptian history. Surviving records are fragmented and sparse. Some scholars believe his reign lasted less than 5 years, while others argue he ruled longer and may have had a significant impact on the early governance of Queen Hatshepsut. The Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York estimates his rule spanned from approximately 1492 to 1479 BCE, a time when Egypt was evolving from a regional power in the Nile Delta into a formidable empire dominating all of Northeast Africa. Dr. Mohammed Ismail Khaled, Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Council of Antiquities, has called this one of the most significant archaeological findings in recent years. Meanwhile, researchers like Professor Filip Taterka from the Polish Academy of Sciences regard the tomb as a rare opportunity to deepen our understanding of New Kingdom burial structures, royal rituals, and the spiritual beliefs of Egypt's Golden Age. At roughly 95 feet in length, with a burial chamber measuring about 17.4 by 17 gods or 11.2 feet, the dimensions may sound clinical on paper, but if you imagine that this was once the final resting place of a powerful king, the site of sacred mummification rites, a place swallowed by floodwaters and forgotten for 3 millennia, you begin to understand why the world is once again turning its eyes toward the Valley of the Kings. And perhaps, this is only the beginning of a new wave of discoveries, where ancient secrets are finally awakening beneath the light of modern science. The 500-year-old shipwreck of Vasco da Gama and scattered artifacts such as copper ingots and ivory fragments, seemingly silent, are gradually telling a magnificent 16th century story. Probably know he was the first to open the sea route from Europe to India by rounding the Cape of Good Hope, an unprecedented maritime feat at the end of the 15th century. But few know that during his last voyage in 1524, he commanded a fleet of 20 ships, including one named São Jorge, and it is believed by researchers that this very shipwreck, recently found beneath the Indian Ocean after nearly 500 years underwater, could be the remains of São Jorge. This discovery is more than just an old shipwreck. It is a crucial piece of the puzzle in understanding early European maritime expansion into the East. Led by marine archaeologist Felipe Castro from the University of Coimbra in Portugal, the research team surveyed a coral reef stretching over 15.5 miles from Malindi to Ras Ngomeni. They excavated 2 trenches at the shipwreck site, recovering the bow and wooden framework, physical fragments allowing them to trace the past. Moreover, the presence of copper and ivory, common tratium, glimpses of wooden beams and objects eroded by salt and time emerge. You realize you might be touching the very ship that once carried Vasco da Gama close to death, now lying silent beneath the waves as a solemn tomb of maritime history. That sacred yet thrilling feeling is what drives archaeologists to dedicate decades to this pursuit. And if you wonder why Vasco da Gama was near Kenya's coast, here's the answer. On his final voyage in 1524, King Juan III sent him to India to stabilize the increasingly unstable colony. After arriving in Goa, he didn't stay long, falling seriously ill, likely from malaria, and died just a few months later. Before his death, the São Jorge, one of his flagship escort vessels, sank near the East African coast, in what is now modern-day Kenya. Now, if archaeological evidence confirms the ship's identity, it would become the oldest known European shipwreck found in the Indian Ocean, a potentially groundbreaking discovery. Yet the search is far from over. Caesar Bida, an underwater archaeologist from the National Museum of Kenya, who first discovered the site in 2013, continues to collect artifacts and analyze samples. Kenya has even planned to turn the area into an underwater museum, where tourists can dive to witness living evidence of maritime history from the Age of Discovery. Although many questions remain, such as whether this wreck truly is São Jorge or simply one of the other Portuguese ships lost near Malindi, one thing is certain. What lies beneath Kenya's seabed sheds new light on a period of ambition, curiosity, and tragedy in human history. It stands as a testament to mankind's drive to expand the world and a reminder that behind every great voyage is a survival story, where humans confront the vast ocean to uncover the unknown. And who knows, next time you visit a Kenyan beach and watch the waves crash ashore, you might remember that somewhere beneath those waters, history is still whispering the tale of a man, a ship, and a journey that changed the world. Limestone sarcophagus, beneath the ancient church, the final mystery of Santa Claus, about to be revealed? A quiet morning in Demre, an ancient city in Antalya province, Turkey, suddenly came alive with the announcement of a groundbreaking archaeological discovery. A limestone sarcophagus buried deep beneath the grounds of St. Nicholas Church, believed to hold the remains of St. Nicholas himself, the real-life figure who inspired the modern-day Santa Claus. It sounds like a fairy tale mixed with mythology, but every piece of archaeological evidence is steadily bringing us closer to a historical truth that has been buried for thousands of years. Imagine standing among the cold, ancient stone walls, beneath which lies the earth that guards one of humanity's most legendary figures. Wouldn't you feel a chill down your spine? St. Nicholas Church is not only a sacred Christian pilgrimage site, but also the starting point of this dramatic discovery journey. Led by Associate Professor Ebru Fatma Findek from Hatay Mustafa Kemal University, the archaeological team, working under the Legacy of the Future project supported by Turkey's Ministry of Culture and Tourism, has traced historical clues for more than 35 years. Now, they have uncovered what previous generations only dared to imagine: a limestone sarcophagus approximately 6.5 feet long, buried about 6.5 feet underground in the two-story side chapel of the church. The sarcophagus is no ordinary tomb. Its raised lid and sloped roof, characteristic of regional architectural style, suggest it was not meant for a common person. Fragments of clay lamps and animal bones found nearby further support the theory that this was a ceremonial burial site. Possibly a handful of soil, every shard of pottery beneath our feet could be telling a forgotten story centuries old. So, who exactly was St. Nicholas, and why did he become the model for Santa Claus? He was not the jolly old man in a red suit riding a reindeer delivering gifts on Christmas Eve as cartoons and ads portray. St. Nicholas was a 4th century bishop, renowned for his kindness and secret gift-giving to the poor, a beautiful image that has lived on in Western culture and evolved into today's Christmas icon. Nearly 20 years after his death, Eastern Roman Emperor Theodosius II ordered a church to be built at his burial site in his honor. This is the very church where the sarcophagus was found. But the story doesn't end there. Throughout Europe's turbulent history, St. Nicholas's remains were believed to have been relocated. In the 11th century, many sources confirm that his relics were taken to Bari in southern Italy, where they have been preserved in a grand basilica. Another portion is said to have been brought to Venice during the Crusades, kept at the San Niccolò al Lido monastery. Interestingly, in 1953, researchers examined bone fragments from both locations and found they might belong to the same person. However, science has yet to prove conclusively that this individual was indeed St. Nicholas. So what makes the Demri discovery so special? The answer lies in the potential to find the original evidence at what is believed to be St. Nicholas's original burial site. Archaeologists are searching for inscriptions, related artifacts, and precise dating methods to verify the remains' identity. If successful, this find could change how we view a global legend, and even confirm the existence of a cultural icon long thought to be part fact, part myth. The gold-filled tomb of a Thracian warrior. Have you ever imagined being able to touch a piece of ancient history? A treasure hidden deep beneath the earth. A lavishly buried tomb filled with gold, silver, weapons, and even the remains of a horse. This is no legend, but a real discovery that has stunned the world. Specifically, in the village of Kapitan Petko Voivoda, near the town of Topolovgrad, Bulgaria, an archaeological team led by Dr. Daniela Agre uncovered one of the richest and most mysterious tombs belonging to a Thracian warrior. The story began with extensive excavations, but as early as the second day, the earth opened up to reveal a part of the past thought to be lost forever. A pure gold necklace, an intricately crafted golden crown, gold rings, jeweled daggers, and even a hunting knife with a handle shaped like a hunting dog's head. A sacred symbol among noble hunters. What makes this discovery even more extraordinary is that all these items were not scattered but buried right alongside the warrior's skeleton, complete with a breastplate and battle weapons. But that's not all. Nearby lay the remains of a warhorse, proving that the deceased was not just a warrior, but a cavalryman, an elite member of Thracian nobility. In an era when warriors were not only soldiers, but symbols of power and prestige, the Thracians were renowned across the Balkans for their unique fighting style and courage. They lived in what is now Bulgaria, Romania, northern Greece, and parts of Turkey. Although not as widely known as the Romans or Greeks, the Thracians were a key link in shaping the military landscape of the ancient world. Thracian cavalrymen are often depicted in carvings as hunters with loyal hunting dogs, wielding swords or spears aimed directly at wild boars, deer, or even lions. More than just warriors, they were living symbols of bravery, mastery over nature, and tribal protection. Do you feel the excitement? Because every artifact in this tomb is more than just jewelry. It's a historical message. Clues revealing the close relationship between this warrior and the ruling class of his time. The exquisite items, like the jeweled hunting knife and the hunting dog motif, not only prove wealth, but also reflect a noble lifestyle where hunting was not merely survival, but a ritual honoring the qualities of a cavalryman. You might be wondering, why is this tomb so important? Simply put, it opens a rare window into an underground world that once belonged to a class almost erased from history. The burial of a Thracian warrior with such treasures indicates he was not only a military figure, but also a cultural, religious, and political symbol of his era. After excavation is complete, the entire treasure will be transferred to the Topolovgrad History Museum for display and further study. But for archaeologists, the true value lies not just in the gold and silver, but in the story. A story of a warrior, a real person who once lived, fought, and was honored so highly that even in death, he was buried with his weapons, warhorse, and treasures to continue his journey beyond life. What about you? If you had the chance to visit Kapitan Petko Voivoda, would you dare to stand before the treasure's resting place, imagining the thunder of hooves and the proud image of a warrior departing this world? The 100 unopened antique champagne bottles found at the bottom of the sea. During a routine dive off the coast of Sweden, about 23 miles south of the Åland Islands, a Polish diving team from Baltic Tech made an extraordinary discovery using advanced sonar technology, a rare ancient shipwreck. Unlike many forgotten wooden wrecks, this ship was almost perfectly preserved. And what has archaeologists and history enthusiasts buzzing is the mysterious treasure it holds inside. Approximately 100 bottles of champagne, 100 bottles of mineral water, and some antique ceramics. It sounds like a story straight out of an adventure novel, but it's entirely true. Can you imagine a ship carrying high-quality champagne and precious mineral water lying silently on the ocean floor for more than 170 years, only now finally coming to light? According to Tomasz Staszura, the dive team leader with over 40 years of experience, this is a once-in-a-lifetime find. Sometimes I find 1 or 2 bottles of wine, but a shipwreck with this much cargo? That's never happened before, he shared excitedly. So how do experts determine the age of the ship and its special cargo? The secret lies in the clay bottles containing mineral water, which bear clear markings showing they come from Selters, a famous 19th century German mineral water brand. Based on the design and stamps on the bottles, specialists dated the shipment to sometime between 1850 and 1867. Interestingly, at that time, mineral water wasn't just a beverage. It was considered a luxury medicinal product, served only at royal banquets and even escorted by police during transport. From this, a theory emerged. Could this ship have been headed to Stockholm or even St. Petersburg to serve Tsar Nicholas I of Russia? Historical records note that the Tsar lost a ship in this region in 1852. If this theory holds true, these champagne and mineral water bottles may have been prepared to grace the table of one of Europe's most powerful figures at the time. Another fascinating detail is the accompanying ceramics, which might provide further clues about the ship's exact route and origin, a missing piece in the historical puzzle that's gradually being revealed. However, salvaging and examining these antique champagne bottles isn't as simple as it sounds. Baltic Tech reported the find to Swedish authorities, but legal procedures and administrative requirements have complicated direct access to the cargo. They've been down there for 170 years, so let them stay 1 more year while we prepare thoroughly, Staszura said with a smile, reflecting the patience of a seasoned diver who has faced thousands of mysteries beneath the sea. The most frequently asked question now is, are these champagne bottles still drinkable? Lita Bester, director of the London Wine Academy, says the answer depends entirely on the original quality of the wine, storage conditions, and the integrity of the corks. If these are vintage champagnes of high quality, some bottles might still retain their flavors. But if they are non-vintage, wines not made for long-term aging, they could be little more than tasteless liquid. Still, even if undrinkable, their archaeological and cultural value is priceless. Imagine holding a bottle of champagne that may once have been sent to the Russian royal court, naturally chilled for over a century beneath the deep sea. Not just a drink, but a piece of time. a living breath of history surviving to this day. Bester also emphasizes that testing samples in controlled environments is essential to ensure safety, and even if the wine is still good, each bottle would carry a unique flavor shaped by time, pressure, temperature, and the ocean's mysteries. If one day we get to uncork one of these bottles, will its taste evoke war, royalty, or simply the sweet flavor of a bygone era? What about you? If given the chance, would you dare to try a sip of champagne that has slept quietly beneath the sea for more than 170 years? 7,000-year-old giant skeleton in the desert reveals a shocking mystery to archaeologists. In the vast deserts of Saudi Arabia, where today only sand and stone remain, archaeologists have recently uncovered a deep historical mystery: the remains of an ancient human buried alongside hundreds of animal bones, all scattered within a strange ritual structure estimated to be around 7,000 years old. But what makes this discovery truly shocking isn't just its age or location, it's the haunting questions it raises. Who built it? For what purpose? And why was it abandoned for millennia in silence? This extraordinary structure was found roughly 34 miles east of the ancient city of Alula, set amid the remote sandstone wilderness of the Arabian Peninsula. It stretches nearly 460 feet in length and was constructed entirely from local sandstone blocks, a deliberate and enduring creation. The structure belongs to a type known locally as a mustatil, meaning rectangle in Arabic. Since the 1970s, archaeologists have recorded approximately 1,600 mustatil across Saudi Arabia. Yet, astonishingly, only 10 of them have been excavated and studied in depth. Now, this newly uncovered mustatil is offering a rare window into what appears to be a long-forgotten civilization. What scientists found inside left many stunned. A massive ritual space with stone walls over 3 feet high, clearly divided into smaller chambers and a central room, believed to be the holiest part, used for solemn sacrificial ceremonies. Inside this central room, the ancients placed a sacred stone, thought to be of meteoritic origin, which they believed connected them to the gods. It was here that hundreds of animal bone fragments, mainly skulls and horns of domesticated cattle, were discovered. Around 260 bone pieces, believed to be the result of ritual sacrifices over 7,000 years ago, were found dating back to a time when the Arabian Peninsula wasn't the barren desert we know today, but a lush savanna where elephants and hippos once roamed freely by vast lakes. Adding to the mystery was the discovery of the remains of a man, estimated to be about 30 years old, buried in a separate chamber hundreds of years after the animal sacrifices had ended. Bone analysis revealed signs of joint degeneration, possibly due to aging or intense physical labor, suggesting he may have held a special role in this ancient community. Perhaps he was a leader, a shaman, or simply a guardian of the ritual site long after it had fallen out of use. So, what caused a culture capable of building massive stone monuments, performing sacred rites, and worshipping meteors to vanish without a trace? Was it climate change, conflict, or something even more mysterious? According to Dr. Melissa Kennedy, an archaeologist from the University of Western Australia and lead researcher on this project, also one of the few people to have ever set foot inside a mustatil, the answers remain elusive. She explains, "There's virtually no documentation of these rituals. We're just taking the first steps into what feels like a forgotten world." As a result, researchers are now expanding their efforts, mapping all known mustatil and cross-referencing their locations with ancient climate data to test a compelling theory. Could these structures have been prayers for rain, built as Arabia began entering a long period of devastating drought thousands of years ago? An unknown culture, an unnamed religion, and mystical rituals held in what was once a green paradise. Slowly, these secrets are being unearthed from the dust of time, and with each mustatil excavated, we move closer to uncovering a grand, mesmerizing story of prehistory, a world where humans, sacred stones, and ancient gods once came together in ceremonies beneath skies that have long since faded. That's what we know so far, but many questions remain unanswered. Who led these ancient sects? Why were only a select few buried in these sacred structures? And is there any deeper connection between the mustatil scattered across the Arabian Peninsula? All these remain open mysteries waiting to be unraveled. But you know what? Beyond this desert discovery, archaeologists have recently made many other fascinating finds, revealing just how glorious our ancient past really was. From mysterious skeletons and perfectly preserved mummies to thousand-year-old tombs and massive monuments built by ancient hands. So what are their hidden stories? Stay with me in the next part of this video as we uncover them together. A 2,300-year-old time portal beneath an ancient Egyptian temple. Nearly 65 feet underground, hidden beneath the ancient temple in the city of Thutmos Magna, a name that sounds like it was lifted straight from the pages of Egyptian mythology, a 40,130-foot-long tunnel has just been unearthed. But what makes this discovery a seismic event in the scientific world isn't merely its massive scale or its thousands of years of history. It's the purpose this tunnel once served. Don't assume this was built to hide mummies or lost treasures. The real marvel lies in the advanced water management technology the ancient Egyptians engineered over 2,000 years ago. It's almost unbelievable that as early as 304 to 30 BCE, while many other civilizations were still struggling to direct water using crude tools, the Egyptians of Thutmos Magna had already constructed a sophisticated underground irrigation system. A colossal water channel, nearly 6.5 feet high, buried between 43 and 65 feet below the surface, running directly beneath a temple dedicated to Osiris and Isis, two of the most revered deities in ancient Egyptian belief. According to archaeologist Kathleen Martinez from the University of San Domingo, who led the excavation team, this is a technological masterpiece, clear proof that ancient Egyptians possessed an understanding of subterranean construction, water pressure, and engineering that far surpassed their era. Even more astonishing, this tunnel has remained intact for over 2 millennia. But this structure wasn't just about water, it carried deep religious and political significance. It wasn't built beneath a temple by chance. It was part of a sacred architectural complex in Thutmos Magna, a city founded by Pharaoh Ptolemy II Philadelphus in the 3rd century BCE. This city featured temples, bombs, and a thriving community estimated to have housed between 15,000 and 20,000 people, inhabitants of a city where every stone was imbued with spiritual meaning. Notably, the water channel at Thutmos Magna is considered a flawless counterpart to the Eupalinos tunnel, a Greek engineering marvel from the ancient world. The fact that the Egyptians may have replicated or even innovated beyond this design reveals a powerful exchange of technological culture between Egypt and the Greco-Roman world during a time when the Mediterranean was the cradle of advanced civilizations. And it wasn't just about architecture. Inside the tunnel and its surrounding sediment, archaeologists also discovered priceless artifacts, from ancient ceramic vessels and everyday items to a mysterious rectangular limestone block whose function remains unknown. Previous excavations in the same area have revealed 2,000-year-old tombs, including mummies with golden tongues, busts of Cleopatra, 22 coins bearing her likeness, gold amulets, and a massive headless granite statue, all weaving together an unfinished story of this magnificent ancient city and the last great female ruler of ancient Egypt. That's why some researchers have boldly proposed a groundbreaking theory. Could this be Cleopatra's final resting place? A place where the legendary queen chose to eternally unite her soul with Osiris in a sacred ritual of divine rebirth and immortality? With its spiritual architecture, strategic location, and artifacts closely linked to Cleopatra, Thutmos Magna is becoming the focal point of one of the most captivating archaeological quests of the century. And so, we must ask, if the ancient Egyptians could build a mile-long underground water system hidden beneath a holy temple, mirroring Greek techniques and preserving it for over 2,000 years, what other secrets still lie buried beneath the sands of Egypt? Could this be more than just a lost city? Perhaps a gateway to a civilization whose story has yet to be fully told? 21st century technology, found in an ancient Roman city. Imagine stepping into a luxurious villa on the shores of the Mediterranean, where sunlight filters through an open skylight and dances across ornately decorated walls, while the gentle sound of flowing water echoes throughout, like a symphony of comfort and sophistication. But what makes this place truly remarkable isn't just the architecture or the art. It's a water supply system so advanced it feels like something out of the 21st century, and it was built over 2,000 years ago. Welcome to Stabiae, the ancient Roman resort city for the elite, and the site of a groundbreaking discovery recently announced by archaeologists from the Pompeii Archaeological Park. They uncovered a villa complex over 27,000 square feet in size, equipped with a plumbing system surprisingly similar to the one you might find in a modern home. This system included two main pipelines connected to a central water reservoir located directly beneath the villa's skylight, the architectural heart of the estate. From there, water was channeled throughout the villa via an intricate network of pipes outfitted with valves that functioned much like contemporary faucets, allowing precise control over water flow to various parts of the home, from the public hot baths and fitness room to the kitchen, gardens, and even private bedrooms. Even more impressive, the entire system was designed for easy maintenance, inspection, and replacement, as if it belonged to another era entirely. It's hard to believe this entire infrastructure was built at least 2 millennia ago, in a city that was buried under volcanic ash during the catastrophic eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 CE. That disaster, which stunned the world with the haunting images of petrified citizens in Pompeii, also froze Stabii in time, preserving its architecture and the finest details of daily Roman life in pristine condition. Today, located in the province of Naples, Italy, ancient Stabii isn't as famous as Pompeii, yet it was home to Rome's upper class, including emperors like Julius Caesar, Augustus, and Tiberius. They didn't just vacation here, they used the city as a stage to display their power, wealth, and advanced way of life. Stretching along the coast for several miles, the villas of Stabii were masterpieces of opulence and engineering. The discovery of this modern water system only adds to the growing list of Roman achievements that challenge our assumptions about the past. Previously, archaeologists had already uncovered stone-paved streets in Pompeii and Herculaneum that could drain rainwater efficiently and had survived for 2,000 years without failure. They even unearthed an ancient pedestrian street lined with takeout food stalls, a concept we often associate with the digital age, not ancient times. Clearly, the Romans weren't just master builders, they were connoisseurs of the good life. The alien-like skull of an Iranian girl unearthed. Along the shores of the Persian Gulf, where time seems to have receded by millennia, archaeologists unexpectedly uncovered the skeletal remains of a young girl, believed to be under 20 years old, with an unusually elongated, oval-shaped skull. The discovery immediately evoked images of extraterrestrials from science fiction films. But what really happened to this girl from the distant past? Who was she, and why does her death tell two stories, one about cultural formation and another about the pain of violence? The remains were found at the ancient cemetery of Chega Sofla, which is part of the Zora Prehistoric Project, an archaeological effort that has been ongoing for over a decade, aiming to decode a Bronze Age civilization that existed more than 6,200 years ago. It was in this very area, beneath layers of time-worn sediment, that the girl's skeleton emerged, standing as a silent witness to both the splendor and the tragedy of the ancient world. Prehistoric archaeologist Mahdi Alirezazadeh and his team from Tarbiyat Madaris University, Iran, conducted a detailed analysis and concluded that the skull's strange shape was not due to deformity or a natural anomaly. Instead, it resulted from an ancient cultural practice, cranial modification. During her childhood, the girl's skull had been tightly bound with cloth or wooden splints to elongate and reshape it, an aesthetic standard considered ideal at the time. This practice was not uncommon. Ancient societies across Eurasia, from Central Asia to South America, engaged in similar forms of body modification as symbols of status, spiritual belief, or beauty ideals. But the story doesn't end there. During examination, scientists found a suspicious fracture on the skull, evidence that the girl had received a powerful blow to the head with a broad, blunt object. Tragically, there were no signs of healing or scarring, indicating that the injury was the direct cause of her death. And ironically, the reshaped skull made her head more fragile and vulnerable to trauma. This cruel coincidence raises a haunting question. Could the very cultural norms she embodied have inadvertently made her a victim? There is no conclusive evidence that she was intentionally murdered, yet there's nothing to suggest it was merely an accident either. While the hypotheses remain open, one undeniable fact is that this young girl died far too soon, and her story has sparked a new debate about the cost of body art throughout human history. Still, her death was not only a tragic ending. Through the work of archaeologists, her remains have helped unearth a buried chapter of human history. 7,100-year-old Yunnan remains reveal a ghost human lineage. Did you know that deep beneath the soil of Yunnan Province, China, there may lie a hidden mystery, a ghost human lineage previously unknown to science? Let's explore one of the most astonishing archaeological discoveries in recent years. A story built from ancient DNA fragments, leading us back 400 to over 7,000 years ago to one of the region's most famous archaeological sites, Xingyi. A team of Chinese scientists analyzed DNA from 127 skeletons excavated at the site. What they found was completely unexpected. Among the remains was a woman referred to as Xingyi N, whose genome revealed traces of a mysterious population not related to any known human species. Neither Neanderthals nor Denisovans are well-known archaic cousins who interbred with early modern humans. Even more remarkably, Xingyi N's ancestors were not only distinct from today's East Asians or South Asians, but appeared closely related to a deeply divergent group, a so-called ghost population that contributed genetically to modern Tibetans living on the Tibetan Plateau. Yunnan Province and the greater southwest China region, including parts of the Tibetan Plateau, have long been a cultural and genetic crossroads. The discovery of the Xingyi lineage adds even more intrigue to this already complex mosaic. What's most fascinating is that this lineage managed to maintain its genetic uniqueness for thousands of years without mixing with other human groups until finally encountering the East Asian ancestors of the woman uncovered at Xingyi. This is a particularly extraordinary finding because it introduces a level of human diversity never previously imagined for the region and forces us to reconsider the timeline and complexity of human evolution and migration. The term ghost population is used by scientists to describe groups of ancient humans for whom we have no direct fossil or skeletal remains, but whose existence is inferred through DNA analysis and complex statistical models. That's why the presence of this genetic lineage in Yunnan marks a breakthrough in our ability to identify and understand the unknown contributors to human ancestry. According to Dr. Qiaomei Fu, a co-author of the study, this lineage diverged from the human evolutionary tree at least 40,000 years ago, meaning it is an ancient branch that existed alongside both modern humans and now extinct hominin species, yet had never been identified until now. The story of the ghost lineage at Xingyi is not just a scientific discovery, it's a journey through time, one where archaeologists and geneticists follow every clue, every DNA strand, every bone fragment to piece together the forgotten pages of human history. It opens a new window into the biological diversity and evolutionary history of our species, and invites us to wonder how many secrets still lie hidden beneath the earth. So, if you're someone who loves exploration and is passionate about the origins and evolution of humanity, this discovery will surely keep your eyes glued to the screen. Because this isn't just about a woman who lived over 7,000 years ago, it's the signal of an entirely new kind of human, and a chapter yet unwritten in the story of us all. The red fingerprint and the self-portrait of a different human species. In the dim shadows of San Lazaro Cave, nestled within the ancient rocky hills of Segovia, Spain, a long-forgotten secret has been awakened. After lying dormant for more than 43,000 years, beneath the dust of time and layers of limestone steeped in history, scientists have discovered a mysterious trace, a red fingerprint as vivid as dried blood, pressed onto the surface of a curious stone. But it wasn't left by Homo sapiens like us. It belonged to a lost brother, the Neanderthal, a different human species that once shared the earth with us during the Ice Age. This stone wasn't native to the cave. It was a chunk of granite brought in from elsewhere, roughly 6 inches long, round and rough like a massive potato, yet it holds a powerful, wordless message. Near one end of the stone are faint indentations that resemble primitive eyebrows. Just below them, the red handprint was deliberately placed, not by accident but with clear intent. That red color came from ochre, a mineral rich in iron oxide that ancient humans used in rituals, painting, and burial ceremonies. The choice of this pigment, combined with the shape of the stone, led archaeologists to a fascinating hypothesis. This may be a primitive artwork, a rudimentary bust depicting the image of a human being. It might have represented a member of their community, a mythological figure, or even the individual who left the handprint, a silent yet powerful declaration of ancient imagination. This discovery, later announced by Spain's National Research Council, CSIC, and published in the journal Archaeological and Anthropological Sciences, has reignited haunting questions about the Neanderthal mind. Have we underestimated their capacity for symbolic thought? Long considered primitive, underdeveloped, and lacking creativity, the Neanderthals are increasingly proving otherwise. They may have had a rich spiritual life, an ability to imagine, to express themselves, and perhaps to create art far earlier than once believed. San Lazaro is no random location. Archaeological evidence shows that Neanderthals lived there between 44,000 and 41,000 years ago, a time close to their extinction. There are no signs of Homo sapiens ever occupying the area, which further strengthens the theory that the mark was made by Neanderthals themselves. The fact that they not only transported the stone from elsewhere, but also chose one with a distinctive shape, and then used ochre to create a mark, reveals an astonishing level of symbolic awareness, something long thought to be exclusive to modern humans. This discovery once again compels scientists to rethink the evolutionary story. Neanderthals didn't just hunt and shelter in caves, they dreamed, created, and left behind a handprint as a mark of identity. That mark, after tens of thousands of years, still speaks to us, in the language of color, form, and immortal silence. Perhaps in that very moment, a Neanderthal imagined himself, placed his hand on the stone and said, "I existed, I thought, I felt." And just like that, even though an entire species was lost to time, their memory remains, vivid, red, and profoundly human. The 109-mile ghost wall in the desert reveals secrets of the Western Shia dynasty. In the heart of the Gobi Desert, one of Asia's harshest and most unforgiving landscapes, where wind, sand, and silence stretch endlessly, a forgotten wall tells the lost story of a once mighty kingdom. This isn't the Great Wall of China. It's a different marvel altogether, known as the Gobi Wall, an engineering feat stretching 199 miles, built nearly a millennium ago by the Western Shia dynasty. Now, the journey to uncover its secrets takes us into a world where architecture, strategy, and power intertwine in the heart of the desert. Once dismissed as nothing more than crumbling ruins, the Gobi Wall was thought to be a simple defensive outpost. But archaeologists from Mongolian National University and Yale University have offered a groundbreaking new perspective, shattering long-held assumptions about the borders of ancient empires. Using remote sensing technology, combined with field surveys and systematic excavations, they unearthed secrets that had been buried by wind and sand for centuries. And what they revealed not only illuminated the history of the Western Shia, but also left the academic world stunned. Long overshadowed by dynasties like the Song and Jin, the Western Shia civilization now emerges as one of careful planning and exceptional adaptability to extreme environments. The wall was built using rammed earth, reinforced with stone and wood, materials that may seem primitive but were ideal in a water-scarce and supply-remote setting. But they didn't just build a wall, they created a complex territorial management system, utilizing mountain passes, sand dunes, and scarce desert resources to strategically place garrisons and fortresses. What's even more astonishing is the true purpose of the Gobi Wall. Professor Sheluk Lavi emphasized that it wasn't merely a barrier to fend off enemies. It functioned as a dynamic tool to control trade, regulate migration, and consolidate royal authority from within. It stands as a testament to the sophisticated fusion of military strategy and administrative capability, a hallmark of the Western Shia that history nearly forgot. The wall stretches through several regions, from Ningxia, Gansu, Inner Mongolia, and even into present-day Mongolia, revealing a vast network of interaction among Central Asian empires during the medieval period. Each section of earth and each fragment of wall is more than just a fortification. It is a relic of a time when humans relied on every ounce of wisdom and resilience to survive and govern in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Through these latest discoveries, we now understand that history isn't only written through conquest, but also through adaptation and innovation, even by civilizations thought to be long lost. The Gobi Wall, etched into the desert and through time itself, is coming back to life as a vivid symbol of human ingenuity and power. And in many ways, our exploration of it is just beginning. The 1,000-year-old ghost ship emerges from the earth, carrying a mysterious woman. On Senja Island in Norway, archaeologists have recently uncovered a Viking ghost ship, buried just beneath the surface soil. This find tells the story of a mysterious woman who passed away more than 1,000 years ago. Senja is far from an obscure land. Located in the far north of Norway, once the northernmost frontier of the mighty Viking Empire, Senja was a strategic fishing ground and one of the busiest trade hubs of its time. Beneath the soil of this island, a unique ship burial, a form of interment reserved exclusively for Viking nobility, was unexpectedly discovered in 2023 when local residents were digging to expand a garage. The first things to emerge weren't remnants of the ship, but rather two oval-shaped brooches and several rib bones lying silently among the dirt and stones. These subtle clues prompted a team of archaeologists from the Arctic University Museum to step in, and from there, the ghost ship gradually began to take shape as each layer of earth was carefully removed. Although the wooden hull had long since decayed, what remained was a dark imprint in the ancient soil, about 17.7 feet long, like the shadow of a drifting soul across the centuries. Inside this ghostly silhouette were the remains of a Viking woman, buried with great care and honor. Beside her lay a dog, placed gently alongside its owner, with no signs of sacrifice or force, seemingly a loyal companion that followed her into the afterlife. In Viking culture, dogs were not just pets. They symbolized loyalty and friendship, virtues that were highly cherished in that era. The burial site also contained numerous valuable grave goods, including necklaces made of bone and amber, a circular pendant, a whetstone, an iron sickle, and weaving tools crafted from whalebone. These artifacts not only indicated the woman's high social status, but also hinted at her livelihood, possibly a skilled weaver who contributed to the local economy during the period between 900 and 950 AD. Most notable of all were her brooches, a common piece of jewelry among Viking women, but hers were different, intricately made, adorned with silver threads, and far more sophisticated than any previously discovered examples. According to Dr. Anja Roth-Niemi, who led the research team, only women of noble class were buried with such elaborate rituals. A ship burial was not merely a final resting place, it was a declaration of identity, power, and personal worth. The mysterious megastructures of the cloud forest, people in the Andes. Hidden among the dense white clouds that sweep across the steep eastern slopes of the Andes, where only the boldest dare to tread, an ancient culture has awakened after centuries of obscurity. These are the cloud forest people, a mysterious name given to the Chachapoya, a once thriving civilization shrouded in the historical mist cast by the overwhelming legacy of the Inca Empire. Now, thanks to modern archaeological technology, secrets long buried beneath the rainforest canopy are being revealed once again, opening a brand new chapter in the story of ancient civilizations in this remote land. During a large-scale survey led by the World Monuments Fund, WMF, in Peru, archaeologists employed LiDAR, an advanced tool that uses laser beams to pierce through dense foliage and generate highly accurate images of the ground below. The survey area was deep within Rio Abaseo National Park, in the region of Gran Pajaten, previously known only for a few scattered ceremonial sites. What LiDAR unveiled was over 100 ancient architectural structures hidden on the steep mountain slopes, forming an expansive, complex, and deliberately planned urban landscape. This discovery isn't merely a new find, it rewrites everything previously believed about Gran Pajaten. According to researcher Juan Pablo de la Puente, executive director of WMF Peru, this was not a peripheral shrine as once thought, but a crucial node in the vast territorial network of the Chachapoya. It may have served as an administrative center, ceremonial hub, or even a strategic communication point in the rugged highlands, where the cloud forest people learned to survive and thrive with remarkable resilience. The LiDAR images reveal that the Chachapoya designed circular buildings, winding staircases, layered stone walls, and a clever network of pathways wrapping around the mountain slopes. These structures are not only aesthetically striking, but also demonstrate high-level construction techniques in an extremely harsh environment, where rainforest downpours, constant humidity, and landslide risks are ever present. Significantly, archaeologists have already begun conservation efforts, reinforcing stone walls, sealing joints, and using special clay mixtures to stabilize foundations, hoping this site will serve as a model for other archaeological areas in similar ecosystems. This discovery does more than bring to life a forgotten piece of pre-Inca South American history. It forces us to ask, Who were the Chachapoya really? How did they manage to build an entire city in the clouds with such impressive engineering and urban planning? And might there still be more secrets hidden deeper in the Andean rainforest, where fog eternally cloaks the past? In this latest journey into ancient discovery, the Cloud Forest people have spoken. And perhaps what they left behind on those mist-covered slopes is only the first chapter of an epic story that is still being written. A 10,000-seat ancient theater, buried beneath the fields. Let's turn back the hands of time, traveling thousands of years into the past, to a peaceful island in western Greece called Lefkada. You may know Lefkada for its postcard-perfect beaches, but few would guess that beneath its rocky soil and ancient olive groves once lay the heart of a brilliant civilization. For centuries, archaeologists searched for a buried mystery, a lost ancient theater long mentioned in old texts but never seen by modern eyes. That long, passionate journey has finally been rewarded. Around the 8th or 7th century BCE, Lefkada was a thriving center of trade and culture, until it was conquered by the ancient Corinthians, one of the most powerful city-states of the time. The Corinthians didn't just fortify the island and build bustling harbors and monumental public works, they also constructed a grand theater, a place once alive with music, singing, and timeless dramatic performances. But over the centuries, the theater faded into obscurity, buried beneath lush olive groves and modern structures. It wasn't until 1997, after a thorough topographical and surface survey of Lefkada, that archaeologists first noticed unusual features beneath a vast olive field, raising the possibility that the ancient theater might be hidden just beneath their feet. Still, moving from suspicion to confirmation was a long process. It took nearly 2 more decades of preparation before a major excavation was finally launched in 2015. Working in close cooperation with local authorities, archaeologists relocated olive trees and dismantled obstructing modern structures, gradually revealing one of the most astonishing architectural discoveries ever made on the island. Then, like a miracle rising from the earth, the ancient theater emerged, its circular stage measuring about 54.6 feet in diameter, a size rivaling the great theaters of Athens or Epidaurus. Elaborate corridors surrounded the stage, while the semicircular auditorium boasted 24 rows of seats, including a special section for VIP guests, a testament to the theater's importance in ancient social life. It is estimated that the theater could accommodate up to 10,000 spectators, a staggering number compared to the city's population at the time. Despite centuries of erosion and agricultural activity, the stage and several front rows remain remarkably well preserved. These ancient stones still seem to echo with the voices of legendary performances, the spirit of art, culture, and the pride of a city that once shone brightly in western Greece. Today, restoration plans for the Lefkada Theater are underway, with the hope of returning this structure to its rightful historical prominence. Although the precise dating of the theater remains uncertain, that doesn't diminish the immense archaeological and cultural significance of this extraordinary find. Once again, Lefkada is more than just a travel destination. It is a guardian of sacred heritage from a civilization that helped shape human history. Can you imagine it? Right beneath your feet, a vibrant ancient world once thrived. An 11,000-year-old village that rewrites North American history. In the ancestral territory of the Cree Nation, one of North America's oldest indigenous peoples, archaeologists have uncovered the remains of an ancient village estimated to be 11,000 years old. Located in Osawananaik, part of the Sturgeon Lake First Nation in Saskatchewan, central Canada, this groundbreaking discovery may completely reshape current understandings of indigenous civilization in North America. For decades, scholars believed that the ancestors of North American indigenous peoples were mainly nomadic, following game and seasonal hunting patterns. But this ancient village, a stable, organized settlement, challenges that long-standing theory. Amateur archaeologist Dave Rondeau first spotted unusual signs on the eroded banks of a river in 2023, sparking an excavation filled with passion and perseverance. Under the direction of Dr. Glenn Stewart from the University of Saskatchewan, the excavation team began peeling back layers of ancient soil, and what they found was remarkable. Finely crafted stone tools, massive fire pits, and bones from the now extinct Bison antiquus, a species that vanished thousands of years ago. One of the largest fire pits in the area revealed unmistakable signs of long-term or repeated use, proving that this was once a permanent settlement, not just a temporary hunting camp, as once believed. Carbon dating of charcoal from one fire pit placed its age at approximately 10,700 years ago, right after the end of the last ice age. This was a time when climate conditions were stabilizing, soils were becoming more fertile, and human communities could finally establish long-term settlements. In other words, indigenous people in North America had been living in permanent, structured communities far earlier than most historians previously acknowledged. The ancient village at Oceanic opens a door to the past, revealing that the Cree and other indigenous communities once had complex survival systems, advanced social organization, and deep-rooted knowledge of the land. Today, the site is under strict protection by the Oceanic Council of the Sturgeon Lake First Nation, which includes tribal chiefs, elders, and scientists who continue research while safeguarding its integrity. However, the very river that revealed this incredible secret now poses its greatest threat. Natural erosion is endangering critical parts of the village, which could be lost forever without immediate conservation efforts. With each stone unearthed and every soil sample analyzed, North America's ancient history is being rewritten. The 11,000-year-old village at Oceanic is not just an archaeological site, it is the voice of the ancestors, a reminder of a once flourishing civilization in the wild, an undeniable proof that indigenous peoples were pioneers in adapting and thriving under some of history's harshest conditions. An ancient town re-emerges in an oasis, after 4,400 years lost to time. During an expedition to uncover the mysteries of Khaybar, a rare, lush, and legendary oasis in northwestern Saudi Arabia, a team of international archaeologists, led by researcher Guillaume Charloux from France's National Center for Scientific Research, CNRS, made a stunning discovery. A previously unknown ancient town named Al-Nata. Covering approximately 3.7 acres, Al-Nata is unmistakably an urban footprint, a whisper from the Bronze Age, echoing across more than 4,000 years of silence. Al-Nata appears frozen in time. This small yet fortified town once housed about 500 residents, organized under a tightly structured social system. Inside its sturdy walls lay residential quarters and a central district known as the heart of the community. While not as monumental as cities in Mesopotamia or the Levant, Al-Nata's presence in such a harsh desert landscape offers a crucial chapter in human societal evolution, a shift from nomadic life to a more complex, settled way of living. According to archaeologists, Al-Nata exemplifies what is called slow urbanism, a type of urban development that does not explode overnight, but gradually takes shape, deeply tied to the natural environment and the region's extreme living conditions. This settlement is the clearest and earliest piece of evidence that ancient communities in Khaybar were beginning to build stable, organized societies connected to other fortifications in the area, like a budding network of proto-city-states quietly taking root in the desert. What makes this discovery truly remarkable is its transitional nature. According to a paper published in PLOS 1, Al-Nata is more than just an ancient settlement. It's a symbol of a civilizational turning point. It marks the transition from nomadic pastoral life, dependent on livestock and seasonal migration, to a stationary lifestyle within city walls, with social organization and early political structures beginning to emerge. Al-Nata represents the bridge between prehistoric survival and the urbanized future of Northwest Arabia. More than just ruins, it is a living testament that small desert communities once dreamed of stability, planned their lives, and laid the very first stones of future civilizations. It tells a story of human progress, from seasonal uncertainty to structured permanence. And here in Khaybar, where sand and time conspire to keep secrets buried, Al-Nata has risen once more to stand as witness to a lost era, one never truly forgotten. Remains of 100 Caribbean pirates from the 18th century uncovered. The pirate ship Wida Galley, commanded by Captain Black Sam Bellamy, was once a terror of the seas, plundering merchant ships from the eastern seaboard of the United States to the Caribbean. With a bold and massive crew, they captured a total of 54 ships, amassing treasure worth an estimated $120 million in today's currency. But fortune does not last forever. In 1717, the Wida Galley sank off the coast of Cape Cod, Massachusetts, taking with it a legendary tale of triumph and tragedy to the ocean floor. The search for this infamous shipwreck began in 1984, when marine archaeologists first discovered the remains of the ship along with an incredible trove of artifacts, a treasure not just of gold and silver, but of historical insight into the daily life and tactics of Golden Age pirates. Most recently, in February 2018, a group of scientists announced the discovery of human remains that may belong to Captain Black Sam himself, adding a mysterious new chapter to the unfolding story. But that wasn't the end. In a remote village near Cape Cod, archaeologists have now uncovered a mass grave containing the skeletal remains of over 100 individuals, believed to be the crew of the Whydah galley, washed ashore after the shipwreck. The remains include not just pirates, but also enslaved individuals who had been part of the crew, shedding light on the complex and often cruel human fabric of pirate life. Though often portrayed as ruthless marauders, Black Sam Bellamy earned the nickname the Pirate Prince for his surprisingly ethical leadership style. Unlike many of his peers, Black Sam reportedly avoided unnecessary violence, instructing his crew to carry out raids in an orderly, gentle fashion when confronting merchants. This reputation has made him one of the most remembered and studied pirates in history, not only for his exploits, but for his unique moral code in an otherwise brutal world. Currently, DNA samples from the skeletons are being examined at the Forensic Science Laboratory of the University of New Haven. The goal is to confirm the identities of Captain Bellamy and his crew. Remarkably, a direct descendant of Black Sam has come forward to provide a DNA sample, offering a rare opportunity to verify historical records and bring closure to a centuries-old legend. The gravesite is now under strict protection, honoring the lives of those who once sailed, fought, and perished with little trace until now. The ongoing exploration of the Whydah galley is far more than a treasure hunt. It is a time-traveling journey into a world where violence and humanity, myth and reality coexisted on the high seas. Through every bone recovered, every relic unearthed, the dramatic story of Black Sam Bellamy and his crew is slowly being rewritten, a fascinating saga of adventure, loss, and legacy. What do you think about this discovery? 1,000-year-old giant handprint. Found in rock. Mysterious discovery. Shocks archaeologists. The 1,000-year-old mysterious handprint. Deep within the ancient city of Jerusalem, a place that once stood at the heart of bloody conflicts, chapters of a 1,000-year history are still being unearthed from beneath the ground. This time, an eerie and fascinating discovery has stunned the archaeological world. A human handprint carved directly into the stone wall of an ancient dry moat, nearly 33 feet wide, built in the 10th century, a peak era of fierce defenses against waves of invasions. But the question that sparks everyone's curiosity is, why a handprint? Who left this mark? And does it carry a hidden message? During a survey in preparation for a modern infrastructure project, experts from the Israel Antiquities Authority discovered the moat lying deep beneath one of today's busy roads in Jerusalem. Manually hewn from solid rock, this moat measures at least 33 feet wide and ranges in depth from 6.5 to 23 feet. Unlike the water-filled moats surrounding European castles, this one is dry, and that's exactly what made it a strategic masterpiece. Imagine you're an invader, trying to cross rugged terrain and sharp sloping rock under a hail of arrows and burning projectiles from defenders above. It would feel like stepping straight into a death trap. That was the very purpose of this dry moat, to deter any army that dared dream of conquering Jerusalem. According to historical records, this formidable structure significantly slowed the advance of even the mightiest medieval armies, particularly the Crusaders, during their siege of Jerusalem in 1099. Exhausted after a long and grueling journey, they arrived only to find themselves facing a massive pit of death. It took 5 weeks of relentless assault, countless tactics, and a heavy toll in lives before the Crusaders were able to cross the moat and enter the city. And then, right on the steep stone wall of that moat, archaeologists discovered a strange handprint, a clearly carved human hand, as if someone deliberately left behind a message for the ages. It wasn't a royal symbol, nor a religious engraving, but a bare, silent, haunting hand. The image raises countless questions. Was it the mark of a warrior who once gave his life defending the city? Or a final message from an invader, a testament to a fleeting yet fierce presence in the Holy Land? Perhaps it was just the idle carving of a bored soldier, one that unknowingly left behind a puzzle for generations. What's most intriguing is that experts still don't have a definitive answer. The handprint could have belonged to a Muslim or Jewish defender who bravely stood guard over Jerusalem for centuries. Or perhaps it was a European soldier, one of many who journeyed from afar in the brutal Crusades. Or maybe it meant nothing at all. That unanswered question is precisely what makes this discovery so mysterious and compelling. Archaeologists hope that continued research into the moat and its surroundings will eventually shed light on the true meaning of the handprint, because even the smallest artifact, when placed in its proper historical context, can unlock an entirely new chapter of history. Beneath layers of time's dust, a carved handprint, seemingly meaningless, might just be the key to unlocking a forgotten piece of our ancient past. So, what do you think? Whose message is this handprint? Is it a symbol of hope, a vow of loyalty, or just a random mark left amid the blood-stained canvas of history? Share your thoughts below. Who knows, you might be the one to help us uncover the mystery hidden in the ancient stones of Jerusalem. 90-million-year-old beast. Bone crashes through asphalt. In the wild and mysterious lands of Patagonia, dubbed Argentina's prehistoric prairie of giants, archaeologists have officially announced the discovery of the fossilized remains of a massive titanosaur dinosaur that lived around 90 million years ago. Recently reconstructed and named Chucorosaurus diripienda, the name reflects not only its extraordinary strength, but also a jaw-dropping incident that occurred during the excavation and transportation of its first bones. And you won't believe what happened. Back in 2018, archaeologists first discovered fragments of this creature's skeleton when they were spectacularly exposed on the hillsides of Rio Negro province in Patagonia, an area renowned for being one of the world's richest prehistoric fossil beds. But this time, what left the entire research team breathless wasn't just the size of the bones, but their astonishing weight. Just one leg bone required a coordinated effort from multiple people to move it, inch by inch. Then, during the transport of the fossils to Buenos Aires for further study, something completely unexpected occurred. Despite being carried by a heavy-duty truck designed for massive loads, the sheer weight of the bone proved too much. In a sudden moment of imbalance, the bone slipped off the vehicle, crashing directly onto the asphalt. But here's the wild part. The bone didn't crack, not even a chip. Instead, the road was what got destroyed under the impact of this prehistoric titan. It was a terrifying yet awe-inspiring moment, one that ultimately inspired the naming of the species. In the Quechua language, Chucaro means unyielding or wild beast, while diripienda is Latin for thrown away, a nod to that unforgettable moment when the dinosaur bones slammed into modern pavement. Chucorosaurus has been identified as part of the titanosaur group, the largest of the sauropod dinosaurs. These were the gentle giants of the prehistoric world, herbivores with massive legs, long necks, long tails, and bodies that stretched up to 98 feet in length. With an estimated weight of 66,000 to 88,000 pounds, Chucorosaurus ranks among the most massive creatures to have ever walked the Earth during the Cretaceous period, the golden age of giant dinosaurs. And believe it or not, despite its enormous size, Chucorosaurus wasn't even the largest dinosaur we know of. In fact, right there in Argentina, some of its relatives like Patagonian, Argentinosaurus, and Notocolossus are estimated to have weighed up to 154,000 pounds, the weight of a small train. As for length, the current record holder is Supersaurus, discovered in the western United States, which reached a staggering 128 feet, longer than a commercial airplane. But beyond sheer size, what makes Chucorosaurus diripienda truly stand out is the story behind it. From its discovery on the dry hills of Patagonia, to that iconic fall onto the highway, and now its reconstruction, bringing back to life a dinosaur that had been asleep for nearly 100 million years. Can you imagine the scientists' reaction? Watching a fossilized bone, tens of millions of years old, crash to the ground and come out completely unscathed? That moment not only highlights the raw physical power of this animal when it was alive, but it also confirms something else. Prehistoric nature produced real-life living machines, creatures far beyond what we can fully imagine today. Ancient purse made of dog teeth. In the heart of modern-day Germany, where the winds sweep across the wide-open landscapes of Saxony-Anhalt, archaeologists have once again astonished the world with the announcement of what may be the oldest purse ever discovered. Over 4,000 years old, made not of leather or cloth, but of hundreds of dog teeth. Yes, you heard that right. A Stone Age accessory crafted not from fabric, but from sharp canine teeth, meticulously arranged and possibly once carried by hand, much like a modern-day handbag. The story begins near the city of Leipzig at an archaeological site covering roughly 250 acres known as Profen, an area originally slated to become an open-pit coal mine. Before excavation began, archaeologists were granted access and quickly realized they were standing atop a literal time capsule. More than 300 graves, hundreds of stone tools, spearheads, pottery, bone buttons, an amber necklace, and most impressively, the grave of a woman buried around 50 BCE alongside over 1 pound of gold, painted a vivid picture of the ancient civilizations that once thrived here. But among these incredible finds, nothing sparked more curiosity than the so-called purse made of dog teeth. While excavating a grave dated between 2500 and 2200 BCE, the team unearthed a cluster of over 100 dog teeth, all aligned in the same direction and tightly grouped together beneath the burial soil. According to archaeologist Suzanne Friedrich from the State Office for Heritage Management and Archaeology Saxony-Anhalt, what initially appeared to be a random grouping of teeth turned out, upon closer analysis, to follow a deliberate arrangement. The teeth, she explained, were likely once attached to a leather or fabric backing that has long since decomposed. The alignment and positioning strongly suggest that the artifact was once the flap of a small handheld pouch or purse. Thousands of years ago, while much of humanity was still forging tools from stone, some were already expressing personal style through finely crafted accessories, made from dog teeth. It's no wonder Friedrich described the artifact as a prime example of Stone Age fashion. Creating such an item would have required collecting teeth from dozens of dogs, a fact that speaks not only to the symbolic importance of the purse, but also to the evolving relationship between humans and dogs at the time. These were no longer just wild animals. They were being raised, cared for, and even included in burial rituals. In fact, canine teeth were widely used in funerary customs throughout Neolithic and Bronze Age Northern and Central Europe. Ancient people adorned their hair, necklaces, or clothing with these teeth. They weren't merely decorative, they symbolized strength, sharpness, and a unique form of prehistoric beauty. Perhaps for them, wearing dog teeth was the equivalent of donning a luxury watch or designer handbag today. A silent yet powerful statement about one's social standing and sense of style. So, what makes this purse more special than other artifacts? It's the layers of meaning it carries. This wasn't just a container. It may have been a ritual item, a symbol of status, or even a personal token tied to the owner's identity. From a small discovery, just a few hundred old dog teeth, archaeologists have unlocked a doorway into the worldview of Stone Age people, where fashion wasn't just for function, but for storytelling. A 1,000-year-old ancient city lies beneath China's cleanest lake. Qiandao Lake, also known as Thousand Island Lake, is a famous scenic area located in Zhejiang Province, China, about 80 miles from downtown Hangzhou and 87 miles from Huangshan. Spanning a vast area of nearly 380 square miles and home to over 1,000 islands, Qiandao Lake is not only the largest man-made lake in China, but also one of the cleanest freshwater bodies in the world. The Chinese often refer to it as the most beautiful water under heaven. This isn't just poetic praise. Scientific assessments confirm that the lake's water is of such high quality that it's safe to drink directly, an extremely rare trait for any lake on Earth. But what truly captures the attention of archaeologists worldwide is not just the lake's pristine beauty, it's what lies hidden beneath its crystal-clear surface. Few would guess that, amidst the lush green islands, lie the sunken remains of two ancient cities, Xicheng and Hicheng, with histories stretching back over 1,000 years. Built during the Han and Tang dynasties and reaching their height in the Ming and Qing eras, these cities were once thriving cultural and economic centers. In 1959, during the construction of the Xin'an River hydroelectric power station, a massive dam caused the water levels to rise dramatically, submerging both cities beneath the new reservoir, essentially sealing them into an underwater time capsule. For decades, no one imagined that a forgotten kingdom lay quietly at the lake's bottom, waiting to be rediscovered. Then in 2001, everything changed. A team of professional divers, working with modern archaeological technology, began exploring the lake's depths. What they found sent shockwaves through the academic world and completely transformed how the region was viewed. Beneath the water, ancient architectural structures remained stunningly intact. Wooden homes, sturdy stone walls, staircases, city gates, ancient temples, towers, and ancestral halls, all frozen in time. One of the most astonishing discoveries was the original city gate of Xicheng, which could still be opened and closed. The iron rings and rivets showed almost no signs of rust, and the mortar between the stone walls remained incredibly firm. Beneath layers of silt, archaeologists found a brick slab etched with the inscription, "Crafted in the 15th year of Guangxu," which corresponds to 1889, along with a Ming Dynasty stone stele containing priceless historical records. This is truly the underwater Pompeii of the East, a city sealed by time, now only accessible through diving expeditions and high-tech equipment. But the wonders of Qiandao Lake aren't limited to the sunken cities. The surrounding area is dotted with cultural relics dating back from the Neolithic period to the Spring and Autumn Warring States era. Notably, in 1974, a fossilized human tooth was found in the Wu Gui Cave in Ligia town. It was later determined to be approximately 50,000 years old, suggesting that this region may have been a prehistoric human settlement. Qiandao Lake is not just a marvel of natural beauty, it is an archaeological treasure trove. Every submerged wall, every stone path, every quiet rooftop beneath the surface whispers stories of the ancient Chinese people, their daily lives, architecture, and rich cultural heritage. For over half a century, those stories remained forgotten, but now they are slowly being brought back to light. So, if you're a history buff, an archaeology enthusiast, or simply curious about lost cities, Qiandao Lake is a destination you absolutely shouldn't miss on your journey to uncover the world's greatest mysteries. A 5,000-year-old Egyptian book with a terrifying prophecy for humanity. Recently, archaeologists discovered a 5,000-year-old book sealed inside a deep tomb at Saqqara, an expansive cemetery of ancient Egypt in southern Cairo, Giza Governorate. The manuscript is believed to be linked to the legendary Book of Enoch. The Book of Enoch is an ancient apocalyptic religious text attributed to Enoch, the great-great-grandfather of Noah from the Old Testament. Experts consider this a breakthrough in modern archaeology, and its message is deeply unsettling. The document predates Egypt's major dynasties and includes both early hieroglyphs and hieratic script, suggesting it dates from the pre-dynastic period or the early Old Kingdom. This has left researchers puzzled. The specialized symbols in this ancient text are proving difficult to decipher. However, scientists believe the book contains at least one frightening truth. According to Mirror US, the manuscript predicts that humanity is being guided by hidden cosmic forces, steering us through an inevitable cycle of fate. It warns that wicked ones may face a grim destiny after death. Their rest will not be peaceful. It also states that every human action influences our collective fate. The discovery of the manuscript, along with macabre artifacts such as mummified skulls and mysterious energy readings in the tomb, has overwhelmed researchers. Especially troubling is the so-called screaming mummy with a horrifyingly distorted face that continues to baffle specialists. The book reportedly contains ominous warnings about historical catastrophes. It's filled with hidden symbols and cryptic messages, cautioning that humanity faces destruction unless certain cycles are broken. The document details recurring patterns that presage the fall of empires. Given ancient Egypt's understanding of the cosmos, this may have served as a warning about the danger of ignoring cosmic influences. Advances in research promise further revelations. High-resolution imaging and AI-powered translation are expected to unlock content from previously unreadable passages. New data could significantly transform our understanding of prehistoric societies, including their religious and philosophical beliefs. Any manuscript like this can reveal hidden knowledge and could reshape our knowledge of history. Monster mummy found at Siberian gold mine. A team of gold miners in Russia's Sakha Republic, Siberia, recently unearthed a remarkably intact mummy, freshly deceased almost, of an extinct creature from millennia ago. The mummy was later identified as a woolly rhinoceros, Radiodanta antiquitatis, preserved by Siberia's freezing conditions. Even the epidermis and horn tip remained intact as if the animal had died yesterday. After the initial fragment emerged, researchers from the Northeast Federal University, NEFU, retrieved the rhino's horn. The rest of the massive carcass will be excavated in the coming months, according to NEFU. This is truly a unique find that allows us to delve deeper into the region's history, ancient fauna, climate, and geology, said NEFU rector Anatoly Nikolaev. Scientists note that Siberia's permafrost naturally desiccated the tissues, preventing decomposition and preserving the creature's form, like a time capsule. Unlike fossilized bones, discovering preserved soft tissues is extremely rare and provides powerful insight into the animal's life and environment. Additionally, the cold mummy may still contain genetic material, DNA and possibly RNA, viable for extraction. Maxim Cheprasov, senior researcher and head of NEFU's Mammoth Museum Lab, noted this is only the fifth woolly rhino discovered with preserved soft tissues globally, and the first for NEFU. Although the specimen's exact age is uncertain, woolly rhinos belong to the Pleistocene epoch, about 2.6 million to 11,700 years ago. They first appeared around 300,000 years ago in Europe and Asia, contracted their range during the last ice age, and went extinct roughly 10,000 years ago due to climate change and human impact. Thus, this specimen is at least 10,000 years old, potentially hundreds of thousands of years older. Morphological analysis indicates it was a mature individual. NEFU researchers plan to study the horn before continuing the full excavation. This discovery is part of NEFU's broader efforts to understand large Ice Age fauna in Siberia. In June, they also recovered a 44,000-year-old wolf mummy from permafrost. These discoveries contribute to a comprehensive picture of Siberia's diverse Ice Age ecosystem and help clarify the impacts of climate change and human activity on prehistoric life. The woolly rhino mummy represents a pioneering advance in paleontology and paleobiology, offering a tangible window into life hundreds of thousands of years ago. It may lay the groundwork for research into de-extinction or conservation through genetic analysis. Indeed, it's a vivid testament to nature's ability to preserve time's memory, and an endless source of inspiration for scientists and history enthusiasts alike. Ancient Maya city, hidden in the jungles of Mexico. Have you ever imagined that deep within the dense, wild jungles of southern Mexico lies an ancient city, once the thriving center of a brilliant civilization thousands of years ago? Recently, archaeologists made a surprising discovery of a previously unknown Maya city, and this finding is shaking the global archaeological community. The city is named Okamtun, which means stone column in the Yucatec Maya language, a simple name that hints at a place once central to rituals, power, and grand architecture. Believed to have played a crucial role from around 250 to 1000 AD, Okamtun was not just an ordinary urban center, but possibly one of the largest and most influential hubs in the entire Maya region. This ancient city was discovered deep within the jungle, situated on elevated terrain, surrounded by extensive wetlands, almost completely isolated from the outside world for centuries. When archaeologists entered Okamtun's central area, they were overwhelmed by what appeared before them. Massive structures resembling pyramids, some reaching up to 49 feet high, three large plazas with enormous buildings arranged in nearly concentric circular patterns, a design that required advanced engineering and reflected the highly developed social organization of the ancient Maya. The stone columns, the symbol behind the name Okamtun, stood tall like time sentinels, telling stories forgotten for thousands of years. Not only that, archaeologists also uncovered an ancient ball court, where legendary games once took place, considered sacred religious rituals by the Maya. This game was more than sport, it was a cosmic symbol. The rubber ball represented the sun, passed across the court without using hands, and had to go through a small stone hoop, mimicking the movements of planets, linked to religious beliefs and the Maya's remarkable astronomical knowledge. Additionally, near the La Reguena River, central altars were discovered, believed to be places for community rituals. Although further research on the cultures that once inhabited the site is needed, it is clear that Okamtun was once the sacred heart of a community flourishing both spiritually and intellectually. Leading archaeologist Ivan Sprajic, who heads the research team, believes the refined architectural layout and building materials indicate a highly organized society where political power and religion were tightly interwoven in daily life. However, like many other brilliant civilizations, Okamtun was not immune to decline. Based on discovered materials and architectural signs, scientists suggest the city began to decline around 800 to 1000 AD, a period when the entire Maya region entered a profound crisis. Changes in ideology, population shifts, and environmental fluctuations may have forced inhabitants to abandon Okamtun, leaving behind magnificent structures cloaked in moss and vines for centuries. Later, when the Spanish arrived in this region at the end of the 17th century, the remnants of Maya civilization were just weak fortresses, eventually conquered by Western military campaigns. Today, the discovery of Okamtun not only opens a new chapter in understanding Maya history, but also serves as a powerful reminder of the rise and fall of civilizations that once reached dazzling heights. In an era where science and technology help us uncover Earth's deepest secrets, cities like Okamtun stand as vivid evidence of human intellect, ambition, and the profound historical lessons modern society must never forget. Pizza 2,000 years ago. In a recent excavation in the heart of Pompeii, Italian archaeologists discovered a mural dating back over 2,000 years inside an ancient house near a bakery. What astonished the world was the image depicted, a dish neatly placed on a plate, alongside a glass of wine and fruit, portraying a meal that was both modest and elegant. But what caught everyone's attention was the food in the center of the plate, a dish shaped, structured, and arranged very much like pizza. According to Gabriel Zuchtriegel, director of the Pompeii Archaeological Park, this food can be seen as the distant ancestor of modern pizza. Although it lacked two essential ingredients today, tomatoes and mozzarella cheese, which appeared in Europe centuries later, the depicted dish bore many similarities to focaccia, a traditional Italian flatbread. This bread is typically brushed with olive oil, sprinkled with herbs, and may include toppings like onions, olives, or herb-based sauces similar to pesto. It was often served as an appetizer or paired with wine during ancient meals. More than a simple dish, the mural's pizza-like bread represents a facet of Roman culinary culture. Its placement beside fruit and wine on a silver plate clearly reflects the blending of everyday life and aristocratic style of the time. A humble dish, but one worthy of appearing on the tables of the wealthy, a testament to the diversity in taste and dining enjoyment of ancient people. This discovery has not only surprised culinary experts, but also opened new pathways to better understand how familiar foods today may have originated thousands of years ago. When baking flatbreads with herbs, olive oil, and wine was already part of Roman meals, we see the extraordinary culinary creativity of ancient humans, without modern kitchen appliances. Interestingly, this mural was not found in a palace or luxurious temple, but in an ordinary house near a bakery, highlighting that such special dishes were not just a privilege of nobles, but everyday joys for common people in Pompeii. This closeness makes the find even more valuable. It tells us a very human story about baking, eating, and savoring life, even if only through a thin slice of bread on a silver plate. Today, pizza is one of the most popular foods worldwide, with millions of variations, from traditional Neapolitan pizza to gooey cheese pizzas in the US or seafood pizzas in Asia. Yet each time you bite into a hot, fragrant slice, you may be connecting with history, communicating with a baker in Pompeii 2,000 years ago, placing on a plate a creation born of heart, herbs, and boundless creativity. Sometimes, history isn't just in books. It can be found in an ancient piece of bread, a wall painting, or even the fleeting flavor of a familiar dish. And pizza, as we've just discovered, is perhaps not merely food, but a magnificent culinary heritage of humanity. The small room of the slave. Amidst the grand marble statues, magnificent marble-floored halls, and endless lavish feasts in Roman villas, a dark side quietly persisted, the life of the slaves. Recently, a shocking archaeological discovery near Pompeii has shed clearer light on this silent, grim world. At the Civita Juliana Villa, about 2,000 feet north of the Pompeii ruins, completely wiped out during Mount Vesuvius's catastrophic eruption nearly 2,000 years ago, archaeologists uncovered a small room once used by slaves, offering a vivid and poignant glimpse into the lowest class of ancient Roman society. The excavated room was anything but luxurious. In fact, its simplicity leaves one speechless when imagining the people who once lived there. Inside, researchers found two wooden beds, only one of which had a mattress. a seemingly minor detail that reveals the internal hierarchy among the servants themselves. The room also contained 2 small cupboards, several ceramic jars, and various daily use items, indicating it was not only a sleeping area, but also a space for living and storing essentials, all confined within a cramped, dark, and damp environment. An even more haunting discovery was the bones of rats found inside, living proof of the poor sanitary conditions slaves endured, even in an elite's villa. Remarkably, archaeologists noticed the faint imprint of a tattered blanket still visible on the bed frame. What was once a soft cloth has now faded into a faint trace, preserved for millennia by the ash and hot stones from Vesuvius. Gabriel Zuchtragel, director of the Pompeii Archaeological Park, remarked, "It looks like a photograph, but it's an image from nearly 2,000 years ago. A mundane moment, seemingly swallowed by time, now appears vividly and emotionally powerful." Notably, there was no evidence of nets, locks, or chains, common tools for controlling slaves in antiquity. This suggests that supervision and discipline were not always maintained through physical restraints, but largely governed by the internal organizational structure among slaves themselves, where one could monitor and control another, creating a terrifying system of self-regulation within the oppressed class. The feeling of being watched, judged, and controlled by fellow sufferers made freedom a luxury almost unimaginable. This discovery underscores once again that while Pompeii has long been known as a symbol of a developed, wealthy, and elite Roman society, beneath its glamorous facade lay dark layers of injustice, class stratification, and labor exploitation. The slaves living within a few square feet existed quietly in the shadows, serving the luxury of their masters. They have no names in history books, no monuments to commemorate them, but their legacy, through each wooden bed and worn blanket, stands as a profound reminder of a truthful part of history we must never forget. Pompeii, buried under ash for thousands of years, continues to tell stories. These stories are not only about temples, frescoes, or Roman goddesses, but also about small lives enduring harsh fate, spending sleepless nights in a room without light, amid howling winds and the distant calls of masters from the grand halls. Their lives had no choices, yet the traces they left, even a thin blanket, are enough to make the world today pause and reflect. 2,000-year-old shipwreck in the sunken city, beneath the sea. In the deep blue waters off the coast of Egypt, international archaeologists have recently announced the discovery of an ancient Egyptian shipwreck, dated to about 2,200 years ago, lying at the bottom of the sea near Thutmos Heracleion, a once glorious city now submerged beneath the Mediterranean. This discovery not only illuminates ancient shipbuilding techniques, but also opens a gateway into the lost world of a magnificent civilization that thrived at the mouth of the Nile River. Thutmos to the Egyptians, or Heracleion in Greek, was once a bustling commercial and religious hub. Today, it remains as quiet ruins resting beneath sand and seabed, swallowed by a series of earthquakes and geological upheavals around a millennium ago. Among the newly uncovered artifacts, the shipwreck is about 82 feet long, crafted in the characteristic style of Nile riverboats, notable for its large sails and high speed. According to the European Institute of Underwater Archaeology, which directly participated in the excavation, the ship likely met its fate after crashing into massive rocks collapsed from the nearby Temple of Amun, the region's largest religious symbol at the time. Remarkably, the wreck was found just 16 feet from the temple, buried deep under layers of clay and rubble, indicating the sinking occurred almost simultaneously with a massive natural disaster believed to be a great flood in the 2nd century BCE. Frank Gaudio, veteran archaeologist and chairman of the European Institute of Underwater Archaeology, stated, "Shipwreck discoveries from this period remain extremely rare. What makes this vessel special is its mortise and tenon construction, a highly advanced technique that allowed wooden pieces to be cut and fitted precisely together without nails or adhesives. This structure resembles the puzzle pieces of modern jigsaw games, yet was crafted by human hands over 2 millennia ago. This technique helped preserve the ship's shape relatively intact through centuries buried beneath the sea. However, the shipwreck is not the only find at Thutmos Heracleion. Nearby, archaeologists also discovered an ancient cemetery dated back 2,400 years, revealing further layers of cultural and religious history. Inside, they found intricately decorated ceramics, including a shard painted with ocean waves, visually narrating the close bond between the people and the sea. Particularly notable was a gold amulet depicting the god Bes, the protector of women in childbirth and infants. In ancient Egyptian culture, Bes symbolized protection and faith in life during its most fragile moments, highlighting how spiritual beliefs coexisted with everyday life even amid turbulent times. Thutmos Heracleion stands as one of ancient Egypt's greatest legends, mentioned in many Greek texts as a lively international port where Egyptian and Greek cultures intertwined. It was the gateway to Egypt's interior, where kings, merchants, and religious devotees gathered. Then, a series of earthquakes and land subsidence events sank the entire city into the sea, sometime between the 8th century BCE and the 2nd century CE. What remains today are fragmented traces of a once brilliant civilization, enough to tell a dramatic story, from prosperous growth to tragic collapse. Now, as modern archaeological vessels glide over the waters where the city once thrived, they carry not just diving equipment, scanners, and rescue nets, but a mission: to awaken memories buried by the sea, connect past and present, and inspire deep respect for what our ancestors built. A ship, a temple, a statue, a shard of pottery, all fragments of history. When pieced together, they tell the story of a city that once lived, breathed, and shone brightly beneath the waves. The gold-laden ship lost for 5 centuries. Can you believe that amid a barren desert where sand stretches beyond the horizon and there's no sign of an ocean, the wreck of a ship could lie hidden for nearly 500 years? It sounds like a tall tale or a plot from an adventurous movie, but this is the astonishing truth about the Bom Jesus, the Lord Jesus, one of the oldest and most valuable shipwrecks ever discovered off the west coast of Africa. Let's travel back to the 16th century and uncover the secret of this ship's fateful journey and the legendary treasure buried beneath the sands of the Namib Desert. Bom Jesus set sail from Lisbon, the capital of Portugal, on a fateful Friday, March 7, 1533. At that time, the world was in the golden age of maritime exploration, and Portugal was one of the leading naval powers. The ship was heavily laden with treasure, gold bars, gold coins, and copper ingots, destined for an ambitious trade voyage to the distant lands of the West Indies. But Bom Jesus vanished without a trace somewhere in the ocean, leaving unanswered questions for nearly half a millennium. It wasn't until 2008, in a truly unexpected circumstance, that the mystery of the ship's fate began to unfold. During diamond mining operations near the coast of Namibia, in a restricted area known as Sperrgebiet, once tightly controlled by German mining companies, workers accidentally discovered the remains of an ancient ship buried deep in the sand. Rotten wooden fragments, glittering gold coins, and numerous metal artifacts from centuries ago began to surface. Shortly thereafter, archaeologists confirmed this was indeed Bom Jesus, the ship lost over 475 years ago. The scene of the discovery resembled a real treasure vault. Nearly 2,000 intact gold coins, tens of thousands of pounds of copper ingots, and priceless artifacts like a flintlock pistol at least 500 years old, cannons, compasses, swords, astronomical instruments, religious texts, and even an ancient diving bell were uncovered. All were remarkably preserved by the sand and the arid desert climate. Notably, a treasure chest full of gold coins was found just 1 week into the excavation, undeniable proof of the ship's identity. According to archaeologists, Bom Jesus likely met its doom after sailing too close to shore during a violent storm off Namibia's coast. The hull struck a submerged reef, causing the ship to list and capsize. No human remains were found at the site, suggesting most of the crew either survived or were lost at sea. As the tide receded and centuries passed, the wreck was gradually buried beneath desert sands, lying silent like a secret waiting to be uncovered. What makes Bom Jesus especially remarkable isn't just the treasure it carried, but also its design and role during the height of Portugal's naval fleet. It belonged to a class of larger, sturdier, and more efficient ships, built for long voyages across distant oceans. Its route, from Lisbon around the southern tip of Africa to India, was a crucial maritime corridor in Portugal's 16th century global trade expansion strategy. Today, the Bom Jesus wreck is recognized as the oldest shipwreck ever found in the waters near the Sahara. Due to its immense historical and archaeological value, the discovery site is strictly protected, visitor access is limited, and it remains an active research area for experts from the South African Maritime Archaeology Institute. Dr. Dieter Nolli, who leads the excavation, alongside international scholars, continues to unravel the remaining mysteries of this magnificent vessel. The story of Bom Jesus is a clear testament to the wonders of history and nature's power to preserve the past. A ship loaded with gold, lost in the ocean, then found buried in the desert. This is not just an archaeological discovery, but a journey back in time, touching the vivid moments of a bygone era. And who knows, beneath some other patch of dry earth on our planet, other secrets may still be waiting to be revealed. Discovery of a 2-million-year-old strange creature under the ocean shocks the whole world. Greetings, dear listeners of 10 Minutes Discovery. Welcome back to our journey of uncovering the grand and unimaginable mysteries of our blue planet. Right beneath the calm ocean surface, you often admire lies an enormous world filled with secrets that modern science has yet to explain. A deep, dark realm almost completely isolated from humanity. A place where light cannot reach, yet it is believed to be the cradle of life. A vast archive of millions of years of forgotten history, and perhaps even the home of creatures so strange that seeing one might make you feel like you've stepped into a science fiction movie. Did you know that over 50% of US territory actually lies beneath the ocean? Even more astonishing, we've only explored about 5 to 7% of the ocean floor, meaning that over 90% of the ocean's area remains a complete mystery to humanity. Here's a fact that might surprise you. The longest mountain range on Earth isn't found on land. It's located beneath the ocean. It's called the Mid-Ocean Ridge, stretching over 14,000 miles across the Atlantic Ocean. Not only is this range massive, but some of its peaks are taller than the famous Alps in Europe. In fact, it makes up 23% of the Earth's total surface area. In the eternal darkness at depths greater than 12,100 feet, where sunlight barely reaches beyond 3,000 feet, exists an incredibly rich and diverse ecosystem. Interestingly, most of the oxygen we breathe each day doesn't come from the Amazon rainforest, as many believe, but from marine algae and plankton in the ocean. The ocean is not only the cradle of life, but also the largest museum of human history. The total number of archaeological artifacts housed in all the world's museums combined still pales in comparison to what lies quietly on the ocean floor. Submerged cities, forgotten legendary ships, and possibly even remnants of ancient civilizations we've never known. And sometimes the things discovered down there aren't just artifacts, they're bizarre, even terrifying living creatures, like the one in the photo currently on your screen. So strange in appearance that it looks like it was created using Photoshop. But no, according to multiple sources, this is a real creature, reportedly discovered by a fisherman while trawling in deep waters. The moment he saw it, the elderly fisherman was so startled that he quickly shared the photo online, hoping the community could help identify it. But contrary to his expectations, most internet users dismissed it as a digitally manipulated image created just for attention. What about you? Do you believe this creature truly exists in the deep sea, or do you think it's just a clever creation of someone's wild imagination? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And now, let's continue with 10 Minutes Discovery, as we dive even deeper into the mysterious, breathtaking, and spine-chilling wonders found at the very bottom of the ocean, to see just how terrifyingly fascinating the deep sea can be. The mysterious golden orb. At a depth of over 9,800 feet beneath the icy waters of the Gulf of Alaska, where sunlight cannot penetrate and pressure is strong enough to crush most conventional exploration equipment, a shocking discovery led scientists to exclaim, "We still know so little about the planet we live on." In September 2023, during a routine survey using a remotely operated vehicle (ROV), ocean researchers accidentally encountered a strange-looking object resting silently on a rock on the ocean floor. It was a shimmering golden orb, roughly 4 inches in diameter, as if it had been deliberately placed there by some mysterious hand, and it immediately became the center of endless scientific debate. So what exactly captivated the scientists? First of all, it wasn't a rock, nor was it a piece of man-made debris or oceanic waste. Preliminary analysis on site revealed that the orb had a biological origin. But what does that mean? Was it an egg? The remains of some unknown marine creature? Or a living structure unlike anything we've ever seen? Theories quickly emerged, but none were conclusive. Some researchers speculated that it could be an egg from an undiscovered deep-sea species. Others suspected it might be a rare type of deep-sea sponge. And more daring hypotheses even suggested it could be an entirely new life form, something that doesn't resemble any known marine biology. The mystery only deepened when the golden orb was brought to the surface. Under changing pressure and temperature, it nearly dissolved, losing its original form and turning into a gelatinous mass, making structural analysis even more challenging. No longer a solid object, it became a formless blob, only intensifying the curiosity of scientists and ocean enthusiasts alike. Now imagine this. What if this strange organism holds the key to medical breakthroughs, new energy sources, or even the food of the future? Far-fetched? Maybe, but not impossible. According to Sam Candio, a scientist with NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, discoveries like this are clear evidence that the deep sea remains an unlocked treasure chest. Unknown life forms might carry biochemical compounds never before studied, potentially leading to new drugs, vaccines, or biotech innovations for humanity. That's why deep-sea exploration isn't just a game for scientists. It's an essential part of our effort to protect and sustain life on Earth. And here's the wild part. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Experts are still collecting data from the creatures, formations, and habitats of the deep ocean floor in an effort to piece together a more complete picture of this mysterious ecosystem. In the near future, we might need to rewrite biology textbooks, all because of a golden orb that melted into a strange goo. This isn't just a story of biological archaeology or a single scientific discovery. It's a reminder that even though we've set foot on the moon and are planning to explore Mars, there are still profound mysteries right beneath our feet, in the vast, uncharted waters of our own planet. So, if you had the chance to ask the ocean one question, what would it be? Do you think that somewhere beneath those thousands of feet of water, there might be life forms no one has ever seen? Forgotten civilizations? Or perhaps even the answers to our greatest questions about existence? The yellow brick road beneath the sea, pathway to lost Atlantis or ancient volcanic trace. Deep in the vast ocean, in a place where light cannot reach and life follows rules completely different from those on land, humankind continues its search for clues about the Earth's formation and maybe even lost civilizations. During a routine expedition as the Nautilus exploration vessel was conducting deep-sea geological and biological research near the Hawaiian archipelago, scientists stumbled upon a truly strange phenomenon. A winding yellow brick-like road on the summit of a seamount, lying about 3,300 feet below sea level. Located within the Papahanaumokuakea Marine National Monument in the Liliuokalani Ridge, named after the last reigning monarch of the independent Hawaiian Kingdom, this rock formation left both researchers and global viewers in awe. Not because it was so deep, not because it was so vast, but because it looked exactly like a man-made brick road. The stones were neatly aligned, straight and uniform, resembling a modern sidewalk or pathway. The strange regularity of the cracks between the blocks, the illusion of intentionally stacked bricks, and the warm golden hue illuminated by the submersible's lights. Everything combined to make the scientists exclaim, "Are we standing on the road to Atlantis? Could this be the remnant of a civilization that once thrived beneath the ocean? Or just a trick of nature, carved by millions of years of geological activity?" To find out, scientists collected rock samples, analyzed stratigraphic layers, and compared the formation with other known geological events. Initial findings revealed that the yellow brick road is actually a natural geological formation known as a fractured flow of hyaloclastite, a type of volcanic rock formed by high-energy eruptions under the sea. Specifically, at the summit of Nootka Seamount, geologists confirmed that the rock making up the pathway was formed when lava met cold seawater, causing it to cool rapidly and fragment into layers of volcanic debris. Over millions of years, thermal expansion and contraction from repeated eruptions caused the layers to crack and split into regular slabs, creating an eerie, road-like appearance, as if someone had purposely built a mystical path leading to some forgotten underwater domain. Fascinating, isn't it? A completely natural process managing to deceive the human eye and ignite the imagination, raising questions like, if humans didn't build this, what else might lie beyond our understanding? Could legendary civilizations like Atlantis have once existed, their remnants buried under sediment and swallowed by the sea? It's worth noting that the Papahanaumokuakea region is not only a biological treasure trove, but also a sacred underwater archaeological site, preserving invaluable records of how undersea volcanoes formed. Key data for understanding both ocean floor development and the global structure of the Earth's crust. Samples collected from the Yellow Brick Road are helping to illuminate how these unusual rocks were formed and providing vital data for future geological mapping, an endeavor crucial for both science and maritime safety. So, what do you think of this discovery? Is it simply a rare and beautiful geological coincidence? Or a whisper from the distant past? A hint of a civilization lost to the ocean? No matter the answer, that golden brick road at the moment of its discovery opened a door to imagination where science and legend meet, creating a journey that challenges the intellect and fuels the belief that perhaps not everything has yet been written in our textbooks. The massive underwater mountain beneath the ocean. In November 2023, researchers documented an unprecedented discovery when they found a colossal underwater mountain on the ocean floor near the coast of Guatemala, a finding that could completely reshape how we perceive the deep sea. This isn't just any mountain, but an ancient underwater volcano standing at an astounding height. Twice as tall as the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa, measuring approximately 5,250 feet. Can you imagine that? A towering cone-shaped structure lying nearly 7,875 feet beneath the sea surface, spanning about 5.4 square miles, as vast as a small city beneath the ocean. This is one of the seamounts discovered using advanced multi-beam sonar technology, a method that allows scientists to see detailed images of the seafloor without the need for dangerous deep-sea dives. The six-day expedition between Costa Rica and the Eastern Pacific unveiled a vivid picture of the ocean floor, once thought to be a vast, silent void. So, what makes this seamount so special? It's not just its enormous size, but more importantly, its role as a unique and diverse marine ecosystem. The mountain's massive rocky structures create an ideal environment for deep-sea corals, sponges, and a multitude of other invertebrate species to thrive. It's essentially a city beneath the sea, where marine life can shelter, flourish, and evolve. As such, the seamount is not merely a geological formation. It plays a vital role in maintaining oceanic biodiversity and contributes to the global ecological balance. This discovery raises fascinating questions about the richness of life beneath the waves. If just the ocean near Guatemala holds such a spectacular seamount, how many others remain hidden in oceans around the world? Experts estimate that over 100,000 seamounts have yet to be discovered across Earth's oceans. Each one could be a sanctuary for strange species, a repository of geological history, and a record of environmental changes going back millions of years. Did you know that underwater seamounts not only provide habitats for marine life, but also play a crucial role in forming valuable natural resources like minerals, oil, gas, and even compounds with potential medical applications? Studying seamounts helps us better understand deep-sea geological processes and opens the door to sustainable ocean resource development without harming marine ecosystems. You might wonder why seamounts are still so little known and rarely explored. That's because the ocean remains one of the world's last wild frontiers. With extreme depths, crushing pressure, and harsh conditions, exploring the seafloor requires complex technology and significant resources. But thanks to rapidly advancing modern technologies like multi-beam sonar, autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs, and artificial intelligence for data processing, we are gradually unlocking the mysteries of the deep. What's truly remarkable is that discoveries like this massive underwater mountain not only prove how many secrets the Earth still holds, but also remind us of our responsibility to protect the ocean environment. With more than 70% of the planet's surface covered by ocean, understanding and preserving ecosystems like seamounts is vital, not just for underwater life, but for life on Earth as a whole. You might be asking yourself, hidden within those deep layers of rock and sediment, how many stories of Earth's history, how many geological secrets are still waiting to be uncovered? Each seamount is like a natural chronicle, preserving evidence of past climate shifts, tectonic movements, and even earthquakes and tsunamis from millions of years ago. Studying them helps us understand our planet's past and prepare for its future, offering warnings of potential natural disasters. The discovery of a seamount twice the height of the Burj Khalifa beneath the sea off Guatemala is an irresistible invitation for those who love science, exploration, and the desire to understand our blue planet more deeply. It reminds us that no matter how far technology advances, our world remains full of wonders, wilderness, and mysteries still waiting to be revealed. And who knows, someday you, watching this video, could be among those who help uncover and protect this hidden deep-sea world. Deep-sea volcanoes and Earth's seismic engine. Imagine a world where sunlight never reaches, where life survives not on solar energy, but on the heat from Earth's core. That's the bottom of the ocean, a place full of ancient secrets and astonishing natural phenomena that unfold silently, every second of every day. Hidden beneath thousands of feet of water lie massive underwater volcanoes, quietly active like nature's tectonic engines. They don't erupt as explosively as Mount Etna or Mount Fuji, but each time they do, they reshape vast sections of the seafloor, directly impacting marine life and even the Earth's crust. Have you ever wondered how the ocean floor, seemingly motionless, could be one of the most dynamic places on the planet? It's thanks to underwater volcano systems and the shifting of Earth's crust, processes known collectively as plate tectonics. These submarine volcanoes, scattered along enormous rift valleys, aren't just remnants of the past, they're living proof of the planet's ongoing geological evolution. With the help of cutting-edge technologies like remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, high-resolution cameras, and thermal detectors, scientists can now access and observe these remarkable phenomena. When lava erupts from a seafloor volcano, it instantly cools upon contact with cold seawater, forming a special type of rock called basalt, the primary building block of the oceanic crust. These lava flows not only reshape the seabed, but also give rise to underwater mountain ranges, some even longer than the Himalayas above ground. And if you think these eruptions only affect geology, wait until you hear about the ecosystems. When lava pours out, it can wipe out entire marine communities near the eruption site. Yet incredibly, these harsh conditions often become the cradle of new life. The heat and minerals from volcanic activity create strange biological oases, where organisms like giant tube worms, blind crabs, and anaerobic bacteria thrive. Despite the extreme environment, research doesn't stop at volcanoes or tectonic movements, which cause continents to shift, trigger earthquakes, tsunamis, and form island chains. The plates beneath the ocean are constantly colliding, sliding, or drifting apart, driving changes not only under the sea, but also on land. Many deep-sea regions, revealed through seismic surveys, have been identified as the epicenters of some of the world's most powerful earthquakes. Interestingly, much of the data we have today about these movements comes from the oceans, which cover more than 70% of Earth's surface but remain our least understood frontier. Thanks to studies like these, we gain insight into how Earth breathes, shifts, and how life can persist and even recover after the most extreme natural catastrophes. If you think the ground beneath your feet is solid, remember, that's only temporary. Beneath the crust lies a restless world, a network of tectonic plates silently sliding, crashing, or pulling apart, and even deeper, magma chambers bubbling with potential eruptions. Exploring underwater volcanoes and tectonic motion isn't just a scientific adventure. It's a journey into the origins of our planet, where all life began, and where it might one day end. Do you think life on Earth would vanish if undersea volcanoes stopped erupting? Or, on the contrary, will the Earth's constant motion lead us into a new era, where humanity must adapt to an ever-changing planet? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. The Dragon's Triangle, a terrifying mystery beneath Japanese waters, the world's second Bermuda? Lying silently in the deep ocean, not far from Japan's bustling capital Tokyo, there exists a stretch of sea whispered about by locals through countless unresolved stories. This is the Dragon's Triangle, also ominously known as the Devil's Sea. While the surface may appear calm and serene, beneath the waves lies one of the most mysterious and feared places on Earth, often dubbed the Second Bermuda Triangle. This isn't just a regular geographic coordinate, it's believed to be a gateway to phenomena that modern science has yet to fully explain. Between 1952 and 1954, in just 2 short years, the world was stunned by the disappearance of 5 military vessels and more than 700 crew members while sailing through this region. No distress calls, no debris, everything vanished as if it were swallowed by the ocean itself. What's even more chilling is how frequently these events occur. From 1963 to 1972, around 160 ships of various sizes reportedly went missing under mysterious circumstances within the Dragon's Triangle. It's a staggering and haunting figure. Compasses malfunction, communications suddenly fail, clear skies turn foggy within minutes, and massive whirlwinds form out of nowhere. Everything happens so fast, so unpredictably, that there's often no time to react. And if you think this is just due to extreme weather, think again. What happens in these waters goes far beyond what we can imagine. Some theories suggest that beneath the Dragon's Triangle lies a secret alien base where advanced technologies are being hidden, tested, and possibly even used to block human access. Others believe it's an artificial construct, part of a covert operation by unknown powers attempting to conceal the truth beneath the ocean's depths. There are also scientists who argue that the region sits on top of an active seismic zone where tectonic plates are constantly colliding. This could lead to supernatural-like phenomena such as massive whirlpools or high-intensity electromagnetic waves that disable navigation and communication systems. But there's one detail scientists can't ignore. The Dragon's Triangle, the Bermuda Triangle, and the Egyptian pyramids all lie on the same longitudinal line. Is it just a coincidence? Or could it be part of an ancient global network we have yet to comprehend? Could there have been a prehistoric civilization with advanced technology that left its mark through these mysterious locations? Is it possible these sites form a planet-wide energy grid? The questions are endless, and every theory spawns hundreds more mysteries waiting to be unearthed. Even the most seasoned fishermen in Japan refuse to venture deep into the Dragon's Triangle. For them, it's more than just a dangerous place. It's a forbidden sea, where deities and demons clash, where time seems to stop, and where humans can vanish without a trace. For scientists, every expedition into this zone is a test of the limits of human understanding, a chance to peel back the layers of secrets that have been hidden for centuries. So, what do you think? Is this just a strange natural phenomenon? An extreme weather zone yet to be classified? Or could there truly be a mystery beneath the water that surpasses anything we've ever known? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to help solve one of the greatest enigmas of the deep ocean. A mountain-sized mystery, crawling along the Pacific Ocean floor. When you think of Earth's greatest mysteries, you might picture lost ancient civilizations, strange desert structures, or unreadable symbols carved into stone. But have you ever imagined that one of the most puzzling enigmas, enough to divide the entire research community, lies deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a place humans have barely explored? What's even more incredible is that this wasn't discovered by spy satellites or deep-sea robots, but simply through a common map application anyone can use: Google Maps. In June, the Secure Team 10 group, known for investigating alien phenomena, accidentally found something strange while browsing underwater topography off the coast of California. On the screen, they noticed a trail stretching over 40 miles, as if some massive object had crawled across the ocean floor, leaving behind a deep, linear trench. But the most shocking part? At the beginning of the trench sat an enormous object, estimated to be over 2.5 miles in diameter, roughly the size of a mountain. The debates exploded instantly. What was that object? A massive, undiscovered sea creature moving along the seafloor? Or perhaps a gigantic machine, a highly advanced submarine, or even a vehicle belonging to a non-human civilization? Tyler, a longtime member of Secure Team 10, proposed a controversial theory. This might be the creation of a non-human intelligence. He argued that while we often look to the skies for UFOs, over 80% of the ocean remains unexplored. If an alien civilization truly wanted to hide, the deep ocean would be the perfect place. A creature or machine 2.5 miles wide, moving with enough force to carve a trench tens of miles long. This is what Secure Team 10 described. The trench looked like tracks from a colossal tank, with some parts resembling deep furrows, as though something had plowed through the seabed. Zoomed-in images revealed the object had a symmetrical shape, with rim-like features that resembled giant oyster shells, a detail that only strengthened the living creature hypothesis. However, not everyone agrees. Several geologists and researchers quickly pushed back. They claimed that the parallel grooves could easily be tectonic fractures, natural formations caused by the shifting of Earth's crust. The curved lines might be remnants of ancient ocean currents eroding the seabed over time, and the massive circular object? Likely just a rounded rock formation, its shape sculpted naturally by the unique pressure and current patterns of the deep sea. So, what's the truth? As of now, no one can say for sure. All the current theories, from alien machinery and giant marine creatures to natural geological formations, are based solely on digital map images. There's no direct evidence, no physical samples, no sonar scans, no footage from submersibles. But perhaps that's what makes this mystery even more captivating. What if a giant creature has lived for millions of years beneath the ocean, leaving behind traces with every movement, completely unnoticed until now? Or perhaps an ancient machine, buried in the seabed since prehistoric times, has finally awakened. The Death Lakes beneath the sea, a forbidden zone that kills all life. It touches. Hidden deep beneath the ocean's restless currents, where no light penetrates and no sound echoes, lie eerie pools known as Death Lakes. These are not metaphorical or exaggerated names, but a chilling reality discovered by scientists from the University of Miami while exploring the seafloor of the Gulf of Mexico. These lakes are a cruel paradox of nature. Nestled within the sea, yet incapable of sustaining life, they are massive saline traps that instantly kill any creature unlucky enough to enter. Unlike freshwater or saltwater lakes on land, these undersea lakes are isolated bodies of water, completely separated from the surrounding ocean, formed by extraordinarily high salt concentrations and unique geological conditions. When scientists approached, they found the water so dense and heavy that submarines could rest on the surface without sinking, while marine creatures entering the lakes suffered acute osmotic shock, suffocated without oxygen, and perished. This is why these areas are often called dead seas, where life is extinguished at a visible boundary between ordinary seawater and the lethal lake water. To understand how these lakes formed, we must travel back to the Jurassic period, about 150 to 200 million years ago. At that time, the Gulf of Mexico was a shallow basin, isolated from the rest of the ocean. Under a prolonged hot, dry climate, the water in this basin evaporated intensely, leaving behind a salt layer up to 5 miles thick at the seafloor. This is the core of today's biological tragedy. Over millions of years of geological upheaval, tectonic plate movements cracked the seafloor, enabling massive salt domes to push through sediment layers, interact with seawater, and slowly dissolve, forming these hypersaline lakes. These lakes are entirely isolated, with salt levels 8 to 10 times higher than normal seawater. Remarkably, these lakes have shores like terrestrial lakes, with tiny waves created by ocean currents brushing against them, and at times a surface still as glass when external conditions allow, a bizarre contrast between the depth within and the serene exterior. Some lakes are less than 3 feet wide, while others stretch over 12 miles, like a small ocean within a larger one. Beneath their surfaces lies a toxic brew of salt, methane gas, hydrogen sulfide, and other harmful compounds, ensuring that no marine life, from fish and crabs to shrimp or larger crustaceans, can survive if they swim into it. What stunned scientists most was that some creatures, after dying in these salt lakes, are preserved perfectly, as if time had frozen. In one striking case, they found a crab trapped in a lake for 8 years, its soft tissues still intact, an unprecedented phenomenon in any natural marine environment. This occurs because the extreme salinity and total lack of oxygen halt organic decomposition, similar to how the Dead Sea or ancient mummification chambers preserve remains. Yet, despite being a no-entry zone for life, the areas around these lakes are not entirely sterile. Certain species of mussels and clams and eels cling to the lake shores, surviving through symbiosis with bacteria that oxidize methane, transforming toxic gas into energy and nutrients. This discovery prompts profound questions about extreme biological resilience and the potential for life in extraterrestrial environments like the subsurface oceans of Europa, Enceladus, or other planets with similarly harsh conditions. Do you find it astonishing that, within the ocean we associate with life, there exists such a paradoxical world, where water becomes poison and lakes serve as chemical graves for all living things? If ancient life once thrived here before these lakes formed, could traces of it still be preserved in the sediment layers? And if life can still clinging to the boundary between survival and death, have we truly grasped the limits of biology on our planet? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's dive into this mystery together. USO, the shadowy phantoms beneath the waves. When we think of unidentified flying objects, UFOs, we typically imagine disc-shaped crafts hovering in the sky, briefly appearing on radar or in blurry nighttime footage. But few realize that alongside the enigmatic skies, the oceans harbor a parallel phenomenon even harder to pin down: USOs, or unidentified submerged objects. If UFOs are fleeting shadows darting through the air, USOs are dark shapes gliding silently beneath the ocean's depths, moving at incredible speeds, vanishing without a trace, and defying all known laws of physics. Historical accounts of USOs date back centuries, perhaps as far as 329 BCE, when Alexander the Great, during his campaign across the Jhelum River in India, witnessed a silver, shield-like object shimmering on the water's surface, moving in ways unlike any known creature or vessel. Captivated and obsessed, Alexander commissioned a diving bell, considered the first rudimentary submarine in history, in hopes of unraveling the mystery beneath the river. Some texts even suggest his pursuit wasn't just about identifying the object, but also about seeking the legendary Atlantis, a sunken kingdom rumored to be a submerged base for extraterrestrial beings quietly observing humanity. Notably, USO sightings aren't confined to ancient lore. On the night of October 11, 1492, during Christopher Columbus's voyage across the Atlantic to find a route to Asia, he and his crew spotted a mysterious light emanating from the ocean depths near the Bermuda Triangle, a region notorious for supernatural events and unexplained disappearances. According to his log, the light suddenly shot out of the water, flashed repeatedly as if signaling, then vanished into the night, leaving the sailors dumbfounded. Shortly after, they discovered a new land, America. This coincidence has sparked numerous conspiracy theories, suggesting that USOs might not only be enigmatic objects, but could also be tied to guiding or even shaping human civilization's course. The 20th century brought a surge of startling USO reports, showcasing abilities far beyond contemporary technology. On February 8, 1960, the Argentine Navy detected two massive objects underwater. Assuming they were US submarines, they launched a pursuit. What followed defied all military assumptions. The objects split into 6 smaller units, shot out of the water, and disappeared in seconds. Their speed, shape-shifting capability, and evasion of radar were beyond any nation's technological reach at the time. In another famous case, in March 1963, during a US naval exercise near Puerto Rico, a submarine picked up signals from an object moving underwater at astonishing speeds, diving to nearly 20,000 feet. Deeper than most modern submarines can withstand. For 4 days, the fleet tracked it, but the object vanished from sonar as if it had never existed. Sonar data was meticulously analyzed, yet no rational explanation emerged. What makes USOs uniquely mysterious is their operation in an environment humanity has explored less than outer space: the deep ocean. If UFOs can be observed through telescopes, ground radar, or smartphone cameras, USOs thrive in perpetual darkness where radio waves don't travel and light cannot penetrate. This is their playground. If an advanced civilization exists, far surpassing ours, the ocean's depths would be the perfect hiding place. So, what are your thoughts on these underwater anomalies? Are they secret military submarines from a global superpower? Could they be relics of an ancient submerged technology? Or, more daringly, might they be emissaries from the cosmos, silently observing humanity's evolution? Whatever the truth, USOs remain one of modern science's greatest enigmas, a phenomenon beyond the reach of microscopes, radar, or satellites, felt only through the pulse of human curiosity. The mysterious blue dot beneath the ocean, an unsolved enigma. One day, deep in the vast Caribbean Sea, at depths of 1,300 to 2,000 feet, where sunlight never reaches, a peculiar creature appeared, sparking countless unanswered questions. Amid the soft mud and shadowy coral forests, as scientists maneuvered a remotely operated vehicle, a human extension into the ocean's depths, they stumbled upon something entirely unexpected: a glowing blue sphere, faintly luminescent and resembling an alien life form, rested quietly on the seafloor. No one present that day could definitively identify it. From that moment, one of nature's deepest mysteries was born. Can you imagine that, in the 21st century, with all our advanced technology, Earth still baffles us? These mysterious blue dots, as researchers tentatively call them, have left the scientific community scratching their heads. Despite numerous hypotheses, from rare soft corals to spiky sea sponges or even an entirely new species of deep-sea squid, none have been confirmed. All remain mere speculation. The creature's strangeness lies not only in its rubbery, spherical form and enigmatic blue glow, but also in its solitary existence at a depth where life is already scarce. When researchers from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration (NOAA) released images of this organism, both marine archaeologists and deep-sea biologists were stunned. They unanimously agreed. This was an unprecedented enigma. It bore no resemblance to any species previously documented. Could this be evidence that countless unknown life forms still thrive in the planet's deepest realms? If you think the ocean has been mostly explored, the reality is quite the opposite. To date, humans have mapped less than 20% of the seafloor. The remaining 80%, a vast, uncharted expanse, remains a blank map, home to creatures like this blue dot, living silently yet spectacularly. This discovery is not just a small surprise in our exploration journey, it's a stark reminder that the ocean holds secrets far beyond our understanding. Why does finding a tiny creature matter so much? Each new species discovered in the ocean adds a piece to the vast puzzle of life on Earth. It deepens our understanding of how life thrives in extreme environments, opening doors to advancements in medicine, biotechnology, and even the search for extraterrestrial life. If a creature can survive under crushing pressure, in total darkness, and with minimal oxygen, what's stopping life from forming on icy planets or moons like those of Jupiter or Saturn? What do you think? Could this mysterious blue dot belong to an undiscovered ecosystem? Or is it the product of an evolutionary anomaly never before seen? Some bolder theories suggest it might be an unknown developmental stage of a familiar species, caught in a form we've never witnessed. Scientists are tirelessly analyzing images and environmental data, hoping to one day bring this strange creature to the surface for closer study. Until then, the tale of the mysterious blue dot remains a captivating invitation to explore the unknown world beneath the ocean's surface. Who knows what other secrets await in future expeditions? Could an entire miniature world of radically different creatures be waiting to be uncovered? Radiodanta, the ancient predator with 28,000 lens eyes beneath the deep sea. In the pitch-black depths where sunlight never penetrates, where only darkness and bone-chilling cold seem to reign, a predatory creature with astonishing visual prowess once dominated over 500 million years ago. Dubbed an ancient monster, it was both alien and terrifying, a perfect embodiment of the brutal evolution of Earth's early days. Its name is Radiodanta, one of the first and most notorious predators to rule the Cambrian seas. Picture a creature with eyes boasting 28,000 lenses, capable of detecting the slightest movement in the deep ocean, over 300 feet below the surface, where most modern creatures struggle to survive. This is no science fiction fantasy, but a real discovery, confirmed by paleontologists at the University of New England after studying unearthed fossils. Those eyes reveal an unparalleled complexity for a creature that lived over 500 million years ago. Radiodanta's body was so extraordinary, it seems like the creation of a daring biological designer, combining the strangest features of various species into one. Its head sported two large, claw-like appendages, akin to lobster pincers, used to seize and crush prey. Its mouth was a circular abyss, ringed with hundreds of spiraling, tentacle-like teeth, designed to grind prey and create suction, ensuring no small creature could escape once targeted. Its body, flexible like a squid's, allowed agile movement through water, giving it a speed advantage in every hunt. This blend of superior vision, intricate anatomy, and razor-sharp predatory instincts made Radiodanta a dominant force in the primordial ocean, a time when animals were just beginning to develop the basic traits of life. It's chilling to think that, in an era before dinosaurs or vertebrates, Radiodanta was the nightmare of every sea creature. Even more astonishing, Radiodanta is one of the earliest examples of an animal with bilateral symmetry, complex vision, and sophisticated hunting systems, three foundational elements for the later evolution of larger, more advanced species. Without Radiodanta's emergence, the history of life on Earth might have taken a completely different path. Yet, A question that sends shivers down scientists' spines remains. Has Radiodanta truly gone extinct? Or could a distant descendant still lurk in the uncharted depths beyond even the Mariana Trench where humans have yet to venture? With less than 20% of the ocean explored, over 80% remains untouched. In that vast unknown, could creatures even stranger, stronger, and older than Radiodanta still hide? The discovery of its fossils is not just a key piece in understanding Earth's past, but a warning that the greatest mysteries may lie beneath our feet, in the seemingly silent depths that hold millions of years of vibrant history. Radiodanta may be extinct, but its legacy offers a profound lesson on how life evolved, adapted, and dominated ecosystems from the earliest times. If you think dinosaurs were the ultimate symbol of ancient dominance, think again. Long before their reign, sea monsters like Radiodanta, spineless, scaleless, yet equipped with telescope-like eyes, hunted with near-perfect precision in the dark. In nature's game of survival, sometimes the most sophisticated predator isn't the largest, but the one that sees clearest in the shadows. Dear friends, perhaps what makes the ocean so mysterious is not just its depth, but the layers of history, civilization, and biology buried beneath its cold waves. Each dive into the seafloor brings humanity face to face with not only crushing water pressure, but also unanswered questions about extraterrestrial life, lost civilizations, or even the origins of humankind. Strange phenomena like USOs, death lakes, or the yellow brick road are merely the tip of a vast, submerged iceberg challenging human intellect. So, which ocean mystery captivates and haunts you the most? Could an ancient city be slumbering beneath the waves? Or perhaps extraterrestrial technology has been hiding for millennia? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're as passionate about these enigmas as we are, don't forget to like and subscribe to join us in diving deeper into questions science has yet to answer. For now, goodbye, and see you next time.